Hello everybody and welcome to round 8 of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. Today we're here on the streets of Valencia for what promises to be one of the most, important races of the season. It's time for the big dogs have to try and stake their claim, and what bigger opportunity than Woodwiss, the main world champion. This is one of the biggest factors of this race. Woodwiss, world champion, championship leader at the moment, of course, did take a controversial victory last time out. Is currently not racing today. He is away. Now this has opened the door for perhaps main other contender Morgan Moran, because he's definitely going to be the man to look and try take a good result here today, because now Bono is his main competitor, and if he can't do anything about that, Bono has to just simply watch and see what happens now. So we'll see what happens. We're in Q1 at the moment as we get ready, so the times will start flooding in thick and fast at the moment, and we'll see just who takes the pole position at the end of Q2. So I'm Jenkins. I'll be calling all the action for you today, and hopefully at one point we will be joined by Mr. Scott Woodwiss and we can get underway. And now just waiting for the first few times to flow through then, as it's starting to get a bit tense now in the season. As you said, this is one of the most crucial rounds, I think, because it's after the driver break. You're into the second half of the season now. Of course, there are only 16 rounds this year. It's time the drivers to just really get their game on. If they want to be a championship contender, now's the time to start trying to make an impression, because it won't be long now until those dire moments start going out. You have to try and, just keep your foot on the game, foot on the throttle. Just drive as many laps as you can, drive good laps in fact. And just hopefully score some good points. It's the guys who perhaps like Jim Parisis in company, which may be the big contenders today. Yeah, they've got a great chance now without Bono. Jeffrey Reitfeld as well. Of course, he has got a little bit of a penalty, as has Jim Parisis. So don't expect to see them right out in qualifying. They're going to need an extraordinary qualifying session to, kind of reiterate that, because they've lost so much ground through that penalty, and that's not where they want to be. So obviously the other main story being that Mr. Woodwiss isn't here today, but he did take victory last time out in Hungary. For those of you who watched, you did see Morgan Moran take the victory. This was later revoked by the series admins because they didn't think it was fair due to the Moran and Woodwiss incident. There is still a lot of debate surrounding the situation on whether that was a fair decision, whether the victory should have been removed, or whether perhaps a 5-grid penalty for both drivers would have been more suffice. But we'll have to see what plays out, because now Miranda's got time to rectify that. But of course, if he did take that victory last time out, and now Woodwiss isn't racing here today, he would have such a big opportunity to try and gain even more points on him, and this would really heat up the title race. But unfortunately, Moran was removed with victory, which means he did lose. I think he got a 5-second penalty. Of course, put him back in second, so he did lose a few points to Woodwiss, but not as many as it could have been. But we'll say the guys such, Reino Room now trying to get their noses in with a chance of a top 10. Qualifying, as you said, is currently underway. Morgan Moran does currently lead the way in Q1. We have 3 minutes left in the session. John-Eric Saxon, second for faster than speed. We said this is the second half of the season. Things starting to turn around. Saxon really showing some good pace in Q1. Faster than speed. It's good to see them back at the front. We're used to seeing them fairly strong in qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep that form up during the race. Jack Keithley, currently third after a very good World Series race yesterday. P4, Eros Musculi for the ATL management team. Nice to see them back up there in the running now. They've kind of dipped a bit recently, since all that drama surrounding Morgan Moran has moved on, and Moran moved team, of course, now driving for Ghost Speed. They've had time to settle down a bit and get back into their learning groove, so they're back up in 4th. Patrick DeVitt currently sits in P5 for Matt Corp Racing. 6th place Rasmus Tali, followed by Edward Malorki for Twister, who's brought up from the World Series. P8 is Jaakko Mikkonen, Yannick Rapshin 9th, and Blair Disley just rounds out the top 10 at the moment. So we wait for the rest of the guys to try and set lap times. 3 minutes to go, as we've said. It's the guys, like Joe Baldy, who wants to try and get his name in there. Definitely one of the drivers to watch in the future. He spoke very highly of him the opening half of the season. I'm sure we'll be definitely looking for a good result here today. Currently sits in 11th. He'll like that top 10 though, so we'll see what he can do. He's got 2 minutes to try and get himself up there. have to see how things play out, because Giorgio right now is definitely, I think he's definitely, and if he can't, maybe get inside the top 10, he'll be the man just outside, maybe making an impact in that lower half of the top 10, perhaps 6th and downwards. So it'd be nice to see him move his way through the field. Still quite away in qualifying. We're used to seeing late surprises here in qualifying as well. In FSR, of course, you remember back to Monaco last year, Patrick De Witt put in a final lap and did a good pole position there. So very interesting. We see De Witt currently inside the top 10, but the team he was driving for, Fast and Speed, now being occupied by John-Eric Claxton. Let's just see what pace this man has then as we get ready for Q1 to close. Of course, Q2 is a shootout round. All the drivers will just get one hot lap, one chance at that pole position. Once it's over, it's over. You have to be good under pressure. You have to be ready to give it all on the track. If you make one mistake, that's it. That's your qualifying chances blown. Boldy on a lap at the moment. Sits in P11 just behind Jaakko Mykkänen. He rounds out the top 10. So Mykkänen, well, quite a bit of weight on his shoulders this afternoon, considering that Bono Huis is away. He will be the only precision driver. But of course, Jack Keith will partner him in trying to bring up the event. He's actually out-qualified Jaakko Mykkänen, so Keithy's doing a fairly good job so far. He's up in P5 in a World Championship race. So thing is, though, Keithy's been here before with GT Omega. He knows what it's like to be in the top 10, to be in a good sort of qualifying pace. So it's not like he's any stranger to this sort of racing. He's definitely a man to watch in this session. 47 seconds left. Blair Disley has rocketed up to P2. Now look, I think this must have given a lot of drivers a big boost, because without Huis here, this race is wide open. Moran sets a pace time of a 1:35.008, 5/10 quicker than Blair Disley, but from 2nd place to 10th place, separated less than 3/10 of a second. So absolutely incredible there. So the current top 10 as we have 20 seconds left. Moran, Disley, Saxon, Malorki. Keithy rounds out the top 5. Masculi, VTR. Giorgio Boldy gets up to 7th. That's exactly what we were talking about in that lower half of the top 10 he's got there. Netrex showing great improvement since the start of the season. Yannick Lapchan gets his car into the top 10 in P8 now. So just as the dire moments go, but can he keep it there? De Witt down tonight is a well-known late qualifier. Can he live up to that height today? Rasmus Tali is the man just in P10 at the moment. Jaakko Mykkänen, Marcus Hoffman, Peter Varga, Marcel van der Linden's in, but the rest of those guys all on track. Thomas Cook in his maiden race, I think, has gone P15, so not a bad result there. Also, Sebastiano Filosa for AT Racing 16th. Franceschioni is 17th. Marconi 18th. Jeffrey Rietveld hasn't set a time yet, so I'm not sure he's going to... Obviously, him and Freud do have the penalty. Peter Berlak also hasn't set a time. Rasmus Tali has to just sit in the pit lane and wait, because here comes Jaakko Mykkänen, and this is it. He's currently P11. Is this going to be good enough for P10? Can it be a precision double in the top 10? No, it can't. Rasmus Tali will have a bit of a sigh of relief there, but it's not over yet, because Peter Varga in the Netrex still out on track. So is Yannick Lapchan just behind. Lapchan currently sits 8th, so no threat to Tali. But Varga driving the Netrex. We know what that Netrex is capable of. Of course, Boldy is the man in P7, Peter's teammate. We'll see. It definitely happens here, because Varga going to need to do something special. Now, if both Netrexes could get in that top 10, that would be such a confidence boost for them. They really come alive. You can see a bit of a lock up there, and that's not the way he wanted to enter the final section off the track. But he comes across the final corner, across the start-finish line. And what time will it be? He doesn't improve, so unfortunately he can't move up. But this is, I think, the end of the session. It's been a very shaken up session, to say the least. So we are moving to Q2. So I'll just quickly remind you of the top 10 then before we get under the procedure for qualifying 2. Morgan Moran is the man currently the fastest of the lot in ghost speed with a 1:35.008. Edward Malorki is 2nd, followed by Blair Disley in the silver line. So great result there for Edward and Blair. Edward coming up from the World Series. Eros Masculi is the man in P4, followed by John-Eric Claxton in 5th. 6th, Jack Keithley. 7th, Yannick Lapchan. 8th, Giorgio Boldy there with a late effort. 9th, Patrick De Witt, who just sneaked in the top 10. And 10th place is Rasmus Tali. So these all 10 will do battle. It'll be a one hot lap shootout. They'll all have one chance at a lap, but this is very different. If you haven't watched the World Championship before, let's just fill you in on the procedure. First off, 10th place will move out into his qualifying lap. Once he's done, P9 will do his, and then so on and so forth until you get the pole position sitter of Q1 doing his time. So the pressure starts on P10 man Rasmus Tali for GT Omega. He said just held in there by the skin of his teeth from Jaakko Miekkinen and company just below him. Question is, what sort of Q2 pace does he has?
User joined your channel.
Now this sort of pressure really can either make drivers come alive, or it can quite do the opposite and force them into an error. All the eyes are watching, all the people on the broadcast, team bosses, all the other drivers definitely trying to keep an eye now on Rasmus Tali. That's the kind of pace that GT Omega has at the moment. So I believe now we have been joined by Scott Woodwiss. So Scott, you know, as we just said, it's just wait for you to quickly jump in. But so 8 minutes, you know, for the guys to do lap times. Round 8 of the championship. Woodwiss isn't here. What sort of opportunity is this for Morgan Moran?
Yes, hello. Sorry, sorry I'm late to the party, but yes, I'm here. I thought we were starting a little bit later, so you can blame the UK time for that. But right, yes, I was actually going to mention again. Sorry, hello everyone. Just going to mention, of course, with Woodwiss not being here, being on holiday, of course, I think you have to agree that really Morgan Moran has never had a better chance to not only grab a victory, but also grab some very crucial points from the Dutch teenager, of course. I think that really he's got to make the most of this afternoon's absentee, that is Woodwiss, so that he can finally get closing on the championship and really get his championship back on track, especially after the controversy of what happened in Hungary.
Yeah, absolutely. This is no real bigger opportunity for Moran, and I'm sure he must realise this. He definitely showed that in Q1, setting the fastest time by 0.5 of a second. Well, sure, you had to do that in Q2, but we had a very interesting Q1, a lot of variety of teams out there, pretty much everyone from all over the place. We have Malorki from Twister, Blair Disley from Silverline in P3, ATR 4th, Fast and Speed 5th, Position 6th, ATR 7th, Netrex 8th, Matt Corp 9th, GT Omega 10th. So this top 10 really is very, very competitive among the midfield teams right now.
I'm pretty surprised to see Blair Disley up there in 3rd place. I mean, not down to his skills as a driver, but he's done very well to get that Silverline car up into 3rd quickest. And as we say that, we should be watching Rasmus Tali as he is the first to embark on a flying lap as he heads through the turn 1 flat out, and then brakes about 75 metres down towards turn 2 and 3. Nicely runs the curb on each corner, and then just runs it up towards the end of the first sector. Not quite the end of the sector, but through this little complex here, turns 4 and 5. You need to watch the wall on the exit. You just, a lot of the runoff here, a little bit twitchy as you went through the first sector. And if I can get my R-Factor monitor up and running, I'll be able to have a look and see exactly what's going on with the times. First sector seems, once that comes up in a second, I'll be able to see what second time he's done. But obviously, Tali's setting the benchmark. But just look at some of the other drivers. I think Patrick De Vits has done very well to get the Matt Core Racing car into 9th. Gergo Baldi's put in a fantastic effort to go 8th as well, quickest in that session. And also John Eric Saxon as well, faster speed. They're still improving faster speed. So John Eric Saxon, a very fast driver anyway. So I think it could be 1 or 2 surprises in the top 10. But I think really you can't look past anyone but Moran for pole position this afternoon.
Absolutely, but you know, it was interesting to see this circuit has a very, very, you know, unique nature about it. So we'll see if any drivers do fall victim to it, you know, kind of sneaky ways. We saw plenty of action here, of course, in both races yesterday in the World Series and the World Trophy. Rasmus Tali comes towards the end of his lap. He's got lots of oversteer in that GT Omega, he looks like. He's seeming to suffer coming out of the exit of the slower corners. He's coming into the faster complex now for Sector 3. Bounces the car, avoids the curb in there, and very rightly so. Comes in towards the final corner. It's been a bit of a not scruffy lap as such, but he's almost wrestled the car around. So as he comes across the final line, this will be the benchmark time. It will be provisional pole for Rasmus Tali. It's a 1:36.5. But now the next man to set a lap will Patrick De Vits, who almost had a bit of oversteer there as well. So this circuit, I mean, I think the guys in it, this is a very high downforce circuit, but it seems that the drivers are trying to take as little as possible.
Well, this circuit is a street circuit, but you have to. It's a bit more like Montreal in the sense that you have to kind of find the balance, because yes, it's a street circuit, and yes, there are kind of 90-degree corners with very tight hairpins and such, but you have got the 2 or 3 very fast sections, including down here the pit straight. You see Patrick De Vits in the wonderfully liveried Core Racing machine down towards turn 1, and it's just big contrast. You've got the very high speed corner through turn 1, then this kind of very twist action which kind of continues all the way through the rest of sector 1, and then the 2 kind of very long fast sections that take you through sectors 2 and 3. So you have to find kind of a delta in terms of downforce compared to mechanical grip. So I think it's just all about trying to find the, as I said, just the medium in the setup so that you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely, looking a lot more cleaner than Charlie's lap hugged that car very tight down as you come over the bridge. You've got to be so careful to avoid that wall cut bit there, because you can literally just, it's so easy to slam the left front tyre into it, but the bit's easily avoided that one. So flat out down here then, it's going to be very late braking. Let's see how late he does brake, just under the 50-yard mark. Swings the car inwards and get ready to bounce over the chicane, but he's got to be careful, because, I mean, you get into this section now, it goes completely changes in track nature, as you said, it gets very quickly. It happened extremely quickly as well. It changes pace completely of the lap, and it leaves the drivers with so much to think about, and it's not like it's a very simple lap like some of the wider circuits. Every corner has a unique line almost, and you have to be able to get them all hooked up in one lap to be able to set a decent time.
I think also it depends on who prefers street circuits rather than the other course. I think some people do prefer the traditional kind of racing circuits. Others, of course, they prefer kind of winding the way around the twisty circuits like Singapore, like Monaco, like here at Valencia. Let's see if it's Patrick de Witt, one of them. He heads around the final corner, out towards the line. So let's see if this lap's been good enough to overhaul Rasmus Tali. The answer is no, it hasn't. He's off by 3.5 tenths of a second, 1:36.9. And next up to take the gauntlet as he heads around the final corner is the Netrex machine of Gergo Baldis. Let's see if he can challenge for pole position, or at least get himself into the higher ranks of the top 10.
That's definitely where I'll be aiming for. He wasn't too confident about his pace earlier on this week, but I think he's definitely kind of proved himself and everyone else wrong there, because, you know, we've seen in so many races in the past, you know, he's really matured this season and definitely established himself as a regular sort of top 10 competitor. And he's got the Netrex in the top 10, so he's obviously got the pace, but let's see if he can have the pace for a top 5, because that would give him such a big confidence boost.
Just keeping track of his sector times, he has set a purple first sector, so he is the fastest man so far in that first sector as he comes onto one of these two long fast sections we were talking about just a moment ago, and he got this really huge breakthrough into turn 11, and it's we saw this in the World Trophy, and I'm not sure if it's the same in the World Series, but a lot of drivers suffering with brakes. In fact, yesterday in the World Trophy race, which unfortunately wasn't broadcast due to some technical issues with our broadcast PC that we were due to use, Tommy Nilsson was pretty much on course to get himself a win. He actually benefited from the brake problems that Mark Alberts suffered. He took pole position, did Mark Alberts, and then went on to lead most of the race. And it looks like he relinquished the lead up to Tommy Nilsson. And literally with a couple of laps to go, he lost the lead to the hard-charging Peter Ballack. He started pretty much at the back of the field, came through to win. So it's this is a circuit. It's kind of like Montreal, where it's a very tough circuit on brakes. Just very quickly on what's happening with Gergo Baldi, he's hit personal best second sector, not as quick as Rasmus Tali's, but he rounds the final corner now and up towards the pit straight. So decent lap, it'll be close to Tali's time, but how close? And he's lost a couple of tenths, excuse me, in the final sector. So 1:37.62. Next up, we're going to have Yannick Lapshin in the first of the two ATR cars.
Yeah, ATR started off the season very well, of course, having Miranda and Lapshin a very sort of good lineup, and then it all kind of went a bit topsy-turvy for them. They had a bit of a scruffy sort of end to the first half of the season. Of course, Moran leaving, we had a few driver changes here and there, personnel leaving, but now it's nice to see them sort of back within their top 10. You know, they've got a good job there, got both drivers in there. Of course, Musculi came 7th in Q1, but it's good to see, you know, them back, well, not where they belong, but it's good to see them back, you know, in that top 10 once again. So we'll see what Lapshin can do now then. He's going to need to try and set a decent lap time here in order to set for ATR for a good race, because the start here is absolutely crucial. You need to get as many places as you can, because once you're stuck behind someone, you're looking for a good 20-30 lap battle with them.
Absolutely right. Looking good for Lapshin so far. Quickest first sector out of anyone. He's only up on Baldi on the. He's actually up at the similar sector time as Baldi and a bit of set so far. So not bad start. But one point I was thinking about earlier on, actually last night in fact, was that we have drivers in the field which are regulars in World Trophy and World Series. Drivers like Peter Burlack, drivers also like Sebastiano Velosa, and they seem. What kind of puzzles me a little bit is the fact that they seem to dominate pretty well, or at least run pretty well in the World Trophy. In fact, examples of Burlack and Velosa. Burlack won yesterday and Velosa was second. But when it comes to racing in the bigger leagues like the World Championship, they don't really seem to be on the same kind of pace. And I'm kind of wondering as to why they can't be transferred the pace from the World Trophy over to the World Championship when the cars are practically identical, to be honest. Just quickly note, here comes Lapshin then. Across the line he comes, and he puts himself top at the moment, just by half a tenth, 136.498. And next one's going to be first of the Precision Cars with Jack Keighley.
Jack looking very, very quick yesterday in the World Series. He's no stranger to our championship competition, as we've said, of course. Ex-GT Mega driver, he knows what it's to be, you know, experienced of what it's to be like up in that top 10. He knows what it's like to be in the top 5 as well. He's a very experienced racer, Jack, and a very calm driver as well. He's not going to make any risky manoeuvres. He's very calm, very collected, and drives a very smooth line. And you're seeing that now through the first sector. He doesn't take too much curve, and he doesn't run the car wide onto the, you know, the blue concrete. He just keeps the car on the racing line, doesn't try flinging it round or dancing out the back end. Just keeps it calm, concise, and because of that, that makes him probably one of the most dangerous drivers in terms of the pace, you know, and the kind of upset almost in qualifying.
I think he is a very good driver indeed. Obviously, you said he's dominated quite a lot in World Series, and I think this is really a great chance for him to at least prove his worth when it comes to stepping into Bono Huis's shoes. Of course, there's himself, and he's alongside Jarko Meeken, who literally was just outside the top 10. He qualified 11th. And just look at his sector time so far on this lap. He's set a look at that. He's actually set a sector time that's pretty much a fraction under 0.2 of a second quicker than Rasmus Tali's overall fair sector. So he's looking good for Keithy at the moment. He's looking on course to take provisional pole as he now heads onto the back section towards the end of the second sector. My timing's slightly behind, so I won't see it at the same time as you guys will. But through the second sector he comes, and he's up as well. He's up by a 10 on Lapshan's quickest time as well. So this is definitely looking like it's going to be provisional pole for Keithy and Precision at the moment, unless there's any mistakes in the final corner, which doesn't seem to be at the moment.
Yeah,
but
Keithy managing.
No, go on. I'll let you cover the last part.
Just say he was managing the pressure very well. But let's see where this lines him up on the grid. Then he comes across the start-finish line, and it looks like provisional pole. Yes, it is a 136.299. That's 0.199 tenths quicker than Yannick Lapchin's, almost 2 tenths quicker, and it's looking pretty good right now for him.
But next up we've got John Eric Saxon for Fast and Speed. And I have to admit, John Eric Saxon, he's a very wily old fox. He's done a lot of racing, he's for FSR, and it's good to see he's actually being able to help a team like Fast and Speed just get up there in the top 10 a bit more regularly. He does some really decent results so far this season. I think that he seems to have that good blend of good qualifying pace, and he's able to translate most of that into the race. He's had some really decent, solid finishes. So I'm expecting quite a lot from Saxon's lap. Hopefully he should be able to take it somewhere into top par, maybe the top 5 somewhere, if that's possible. But we'll have a look. He obviously did qualify 5th fastest in the first session, and end of the first sector, and he's actually down fractionally by about 600ths of a second on Keithley's time. So it's quick, but at the moment, if he stays at this kind of pace where he's just behind, it'll only be good enough for roughly about second so far. So drivers such as Scully, Disley, of course, Edward Malorkey, and Morgan Rand, of course, he needs to kind of step up on this next sector and have a nice clean run through here as he comes onto this back section here in order to make it stick.
Absolutely, let's see what he can do then. As you said, he was a very promising young man in qualifying 1 today. He did a very good job, of course, qualifying 5th. It was an excellent result for him and Fast and Speed. Let's see if he can transpire that into qualifying 2. Looking pretty good for it now. He's driving very clean, solidly, no mistakes at the moment. Comes in towards the final sector then, flings the car right in towards the final corner. See what John Eric Saxon's got. You can see the lockup marks there where drivers have just tried to leave the brake in as late as possible. Gets a little bit deep coming out the final corner, but John Eric Saxon provisionally goes 4th. So I'm not sure that's the result he would have hoped for, but nonetheless, the top 10 of Fast and Speed is very, very good for them.
Yeah, he lost a bit of time in the second sector. He was down by a 10th on the time that Keithley had set. Just interesting enough, we was due to have Eros Mascuidi coming out on track, but he's didn't actually leave the pits as Saxon went past. So either he's having some troubles, or he's deciding not to run a lap, or whether or not it's a team decision. I'm not quite sure, but he's not actually made his way out onto track yet, and the track is currently practically silent. So I'm not quite sure what is going on down there. I did see him, he tried to go out, but he's gone into the pit lane, so you need to see exactly what's going on with that one.
Yeah, I think, I saw him leave the garage, and he literally, I think, parked it on one of the team bays, if you like, where there's all the team personnel and engineers sit, and he's gone just a bit wide, got the car lodged in there, and in return gone back to the pit lane. So whether he's got time to, yeah, he's actually left the pit lane now, so bit of a mishap there. I'm sure that will be hopefully not a big factor that plays on his lap. So of course he will get a fresh car hopefully, so there will be no damage to the ATR when it goes around. Of course, this is the second ATR car then. Eros, of course, partner to Yannick Lapchin. So let's see what Eros has got in the tank then. So maybe he's just setting us up for a good lap, or giving us a bit of time to maybe prepare himself. As he comes, of course, this is his out lap now, so he's got to wait a while until we see the next man, who will be Blair Disley. Now, Blair had a very, very promising Q1 for that Silverline team. It's been a long time, and perhaps too long, until we've seen, Silverline being consistently up there. So is this, maybe the winds of change blowing around the Silverline team?
Quite possibly. I mean, last year, of course, they were paired up with ATR management, so it was ATR Silverline, and of course, who was one of their main drivers? Of course, it was Morgan Moran. And it was interesting because he actually managed to benefit. Only when he took that year was in Suzuka, and it was actually it was down to a mishap on the actual warm-up lap from Woodwiss. Actually, I believe he actually didn't even think he was disqualified on the warm-up lap for either speeding or whatever. I can't remember exactly what the penalty was, but he was disqualified on the warm-up lap, and in turn that allowed Moran to kind of run away with the race winning. And similar situation here, although no penalty involved. Of course, Woodwiss has generally gone off on holiday, so as the term says, to recharge his battery. So whether or not he'll be, how long the holiday is, we don't actually have that information to hand. But of course, whether he's going to be back for Spa, which is I think what everyone's expecting. But still, as I said, this has never been a better opportunity for Morgan Moran to, as we said, not only win the race but also take some valuable points from Woodwiss, as we see Eros Mascudi now starting his qualifying lap. And I do believe that this is just a normal 7,000 resumed, because Blair Disley has now left the pit lane, no delays at all, and he trundles out as Mascudi heads towards the end of the first set. So let's see exactly what he can manage.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, I mean, as you said, Moran needs this opportunity now, and he needs to capitalise on it. It's looking very good so far, but I mean, the thing is as well, I mean, he's going to be fired up after that controversial decision back in Hungary, so he needs to start stringing these victories together, and I'm sure Bono will be very well aware of what Moran's capable of today. So, I mean, if Moran somehow does not win the race, how much of a blow will this be to him?
I mean, it's going to be interesting because, of course, as I said, brakes will probably be a massive factor. And what we need to remember is the last time we had a race which was very heavy on brakes, Moran didn't actually finish. He was closing on second place, and then he had major brake failure, which saw him go out on the last lap up at the hairpin when the brakes completely failed. So I think Moran has to, hopefully he'll have learnt his lessons from what happened in Canada, and that must not happen again, and he'll be just gunning to, as we said, to definitely try and win the race. If he doesn't, of course, anything like a second or a third, of course, will still be points taking out from Woodwiss, but not as many as he would like to. But nonetheless, I think he'll be definitely gunning for that win, and of course, he wouldn't expect anything else from him. Quick note on Mascudi, comes around the final corner. He's been off in a terrible second set, the personal best, but he's off by 3/10 from keeping his best time, and that time's only put him 5th on a 1:36.709. He fractures had a go-go, so I think really ATR currently sits 2nd and 5th, so it's not too bad, but of course we've still got 3 rather rapid drivers to come, and the first thing we've got Disley, who's rounding the final corner right now.
Yeah, Blair Disley, of course, one of the main shocks in Q1. It's great to see him back up there. Let's see if he can provide us with the same excitement in Q2. He comes in towards turn 1 now then, effectively goes through very nicely indeed. He needs a good clean lap now, no sort of wheel contact. A little bit of a wall touch there, that shouldn't affect him too much. I mean, he's looking very aggressive though. He's literally, again, he's one of those drivers that like to dance the car around and try and get as much track, and even sometimes a little bit more. He can, but nonetheless, as he said, he's a very experienced driver here in Formula Sim Racing, and very well respected driver as well. He's not, too aggressive. You won't put unnecessary dive bombs on you. He's definitely one of the most well respected drivers. So to see him up there, I'm sure if he got a good result in Silverline, a lot of the paddock will be congratulating him today.
Looking at his first sector time, and it's pretty much equal to most of the drivers. I think it's the second fastest sector time of all of them, but it's still roughly just under a 10th off Keithley's best, so he's now just charging hard. One driver I'm surprised is not in the top 10, and maybe you can fill me on if anything happens to him. It was Jeffrey Wrightbelt. Wrightbelt obviously driving the GT Omega, that in 19th, on the same row as World Trophy Championship winner Peter Burlack. Quite interesting, maybe let's have a look on our system here.
I believe he actually got a back of the grid penalty. Same news with Jim Paresis as well, I think. I think Peter Burlack may also have suffered the same fate, but I think there are a lot of penalties dished out after Hungary, so this is really shaking up the racing, because without Rietveld, Burlack, Paresis, 3 guys you're used to seeing in the top 10, is really opening it up, and his midfield take advantage. Will Blair Disley, he crosses the line now, and he goes 7th, so slightly poor 3rd sector. But I think the thing is as well, you know, as we said, this has really opened this up now for the midfield drivers. You've got guys DeVitt, Boldy, Musculi, Saxon, Tarley. All these guys now got an opportunity to get some valuable points for their team and their individual standings today.
So here goes Edward Milwaukee then, twist the race. We haven't seen very much of Milwaukee. I think in fact really he's standing in for, I believe, I've got to get the name right because there are 3 Nilsons in FSR. I believe it's going to be Frederick Nilsson that he's replacing in that team. And Milwaukee, I think last time I believe seeing was in one of the World Series World Trophy races, so he's not really been around very much, but the Spaniard definitely looking as though he can try and make an impression on his return. And just a quick note as well that our broadcast director is having a battle with the elements. Apparently there's some thunder around where he is, so if you do get some problems with the broadcast as to any static cameras, then just do bear with us, of course. So that means that there's 1 or 2 power problems there. But back to what's happening out on track. And Milwaukee's first sector, again, similar to the other drivers such as Disney, Boldy, DeVitt, but still hasn't matched Jack Keithy's sector. So I think really the only 2 drivers that are going to match it, or the only driver that's even going to come close to it, I think, is going to be Moran, who's obviously up last of the top 10. But absolutely, I mean, just looking back to what happened in Hungary, of course, we said Moran will definitely want redemption for what happened. Of course, if anyone didn't catch it or hasn't catched the highlights video, which it's always the highlights video is always brilliantly put together by Simon Adebisi. What happened was that Moran's actually put on what was deemed to be a dangerous move on Bono Huis by pushing him out wide at turn 1, and both of them received penalties. In fact, Huis for contact with Moran. So should be interesting to see how they recover from that. So Milwaukee comes across the line and he only goes 7th on a 1:36.768, and that's quite interesting because 5th to 7th are literally they're covered by less than 1/10 of a second, so that's extremely close. And in fact, all the top 10 are covered literally only by 6/10 of a second itself overall. So I think really we're going to be quite pressed to see what's going to happen as now we have our last protagonist, and it is of course Morgan Moran. So really, unless anything major happens on this lap, it's pretty much going to be a guarantee he's going to get pole position.
Yeah, absolutely. Moran, the favourite for pole position. He's definitely showing it right now. We know what he's capable of. Since last season, he's definitely matured, I think, quicker than any other driver. You remember back to Spa last year, he was the first man to really challenge Bono Huis to probably one of the most entertaining battles in FSR history. And let's see what he can do today then. He's got a prime opportunity to gain some points on the Flying Dutchman who's currently away on holiday. Probably flying elsewhere. Right now, Moran is just trying to fly his car around the Valencia circuit to set a decent time. His sector times are looking very good though.
Look at that, he is actually up on, look at that, by about 1/10 of a second. So Moran, as we said, he'll be the only one that could challenge Keithy. It looks as though it's going to be another Ghost Speed Precision front row, or it's going to be the other way around and not who you'd normally expect on the front. No disrespect to Jack, of course. But Moran now is, of course, making his way down the back straight, like up towards the end of the second sector. The sector time will flash up on my screen in a second, and I'm expecting it to be a quick hit. Yes, it is by just under 1/10, so this looks like it's all set for Moran to take this pole position and flash into the final couple of corners then. And of course, now Moran's fully settled into Ghost Speed now and trying to do his duty with that brand new chassis which came to Hungary. Here he comes in out of the final corner towards the line, and it's going to be pole position, but by how much for Morgan Moran? It's going to be pole by 3/10 of a second. Fantastic, about another 10th in the final sector, and that is, as we predicted, pole position for the French Grizzly.
Indeed it is, so Moran will be happy with that one. Job well done there for Morgan. Can he transpire that into a race win? We're about to find out in just a few minutes, because now I think it's, we go to a 10-minute warm-up session, and we've got fairly big field as well today. So we've got around 22 drivers that will be competing for a very strong result. Of course, you do need the top 10, unlike the other 2 divisions, to get major points today. So it's all down to the guys in the top 10. And I think maybe in terms of the midfield, this really is wide open now because there's so much variety and it's so close as well in terms of the teams. You could see guys maybe 15th, 16th. Marcel van der Linden, currently 13th, he'll be definitely looking to try and get in the top 10 today.
Also looking down, I think definitely the 2 cars to watch to come through the field are going to be Jeffrey Wright and Peter Bailout, of course. And also, of course, Jim Paris as well. I completely forgot about him, of course, my teammates of Morgan Moran. Those 3 coming through from the back of the field, they're actually together on the grid, 18th, 19th and 20th. So watching them come through, it's going to be quite entertaining. And it hopefully should make for some pretty interesting overtaking manoeuvres. It's a circuit, of course, if we're honest, in real life, hasn't really produced the best racing. It's not really been the most exciting, shall we say. But of course, this is the world of sim racing, and as we know, anything can happen in sim racing. So I think hopefully we should be in for a pretty decent race today. A couple of new faces I've just noticed. Michael Francesconi is racing at Silverline alongside Blair Disley. He's a new face I haven't noticed. Also, I believe another name which I recognised, Thomas Cook. He's in there racing for MacCore. So a couple of new faces, always new faces coming into FSR, and of course we're always keen to have you. So of course, if you do think you can have a go in one of these World Championship or even World Series or World Trophy cars, just head over to the race department forum, which is where the Formula Sim Racing forums are based. Go over there and basically you can go ahead and sign up, pay the licence fee, whichever series you want to take part in, and then just find yourself a drive. Of course, either that you can go onto the website, which is www.formula-simracing.net, and you can definitely go ahead and check us out via that method.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just, I think one of the major factors on this track today, as we've already established, is definitely brakes. Because this track is so, demanding on the brakes. And I think that's going to catch a lot of drivers out. We saw Taiwan as well, perhaps catching drivers out slightly earlier on than expected. But brakes, for sure, definitely going to play a big part in this race. I mean, especially if drivers go too aggressive during the middle stint.
You see what kind of strategies one kind of implements. I'm guessing maybe we may see a similar kind of strategy we maybe saw. Probably not the same as Hungary, because the drivers are doing 5, almost even 6 stops. I expect probably the stops to be roughly maybe around 3 to 4 stops, maybe depending on Taiwan, who looks after their tyres. I think Moran definitely is, obviously, because he likes a car with this a bit more loose than it is kind of understeer, if you like, then probably may opt for the quicker 4-stop option, or you may try and go longer than 3-stop if you can get away with it, if he gets any major challenges this afternoon. I think the nearest challenger really looks like going to be, at the moment, based on whether qualifies, is going to be Jack Keithley. But obviously, again, we're going to watch for those 3 that are near the back, of course, all together, Rietveld, Berlak and Priest, to see exactly how fast they're going to come up. And remember, Berlak actually came up from the back of the hill to win the World Trophy race, so I mean, there's no reason why he can't step it up and do it in the World Championship race this afternoon.
Absolutely. Now, it's just interesting as well, currently on track at the moment, Jim Paresis, P19, starting from the rear end of the field, following the man who started just in front of him, Jeffrey Rietveld. So these two very feisty drivers. Paresis is very, very experienced as well. He's definitely improved over the past couple of seasons. It's good to see him now with some pace. We'll have his work out for him today. Same with Jeffrey Rietveld. Jack, of course, still young and World Series champion from last year. He's going to need to find something special today. But I think Rietveld's driving style is very, very aggressive. Not in a bad way, but he just likes to take a lot of curves, fling the car around, and that could be a bit crucial during the race.
That was a bit naughty. Peter Varga just went right onto the outside and got in the way of Peter Berlak. I think luckily he was going to pits anyway. But if McKeff doesn't do that in the race at racing speed, otherwise it's definitely going to be game over for Peter Berlak. And I think also that definitely caused a penalty for Varga as well. So Varga, I think, probably needs to adjust his mirrors before he gets going in the race this afternoon.
Here you are, now you can take a look at Patrick Devitt currently, the man in P5 trying to take Giuseppe Marconi. And the prime overtaking spots here. It's very risky because there's not enough room. And you have to definitely kind of double think before you try and make that stick over the bridge, as Jonathan Otterclinch rejoins the track.
He decided to scoot off and go and have a look at the doctor, I think, for a second before he rejoined the track and realised he's got a race to run this afternoon. So, and again, Marconi and Devitt, I think they're practising going side by side for the race, I think. It's as I think Sarah's Masqui's just gone off into the run-off area to let them through. And that's going to be crucial as well, obviously, drivers going off onto the run-off and, of course, going over the anti-cut strips. And we've seen it in rough F1, of course, we saw with the likes of, obviously, this year's race with the Grand Prix with Maldonado and Hamilton. If you get over those curves, depending on how high they are, it either can just let you loose or it can just cause you to get beached with no steering at all. So I mean, you've got to be very careful as to how you run the circuit. And of course, if you kind of run on the runoff areas too many times, you will get penalised for it. So you're definitely got to be careful in that aspect. I think we've got 1 or 2 more drivers coming in. We've actually got 23 cars on the grid. I think George Pantelis has jumped in for Ash Racing with about, say, I don't know how long is up until the race director decides to switch through to the race. But I think looking at predictions for the race, it's definitely going to be pretty much assured that Morgan Ran is hot favourite to win the race. Of course, there's no one that's going to be remotely challenging him. Although, as I said, the nearest challenger probably is going to be Jack Keithley for precision, holding on as whilst Tweese is off on holiday. And then just around him, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, maybe Aerosmith Scooty can jump up and mark his comeback. Oh, and there's a wheel somewhere. Someone's lost the wheel. And who's that? There was a wheel off just on the exit of, I think, turn 5 or turn 6. I think obviously they must have back to the pit, but someone's obviously heading off somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing is as well, while Moran should be able to get away fairly cleanly, if he can get that opening lap sorted, he should be able to just drive his own race and keep clear of all the incidents. But further back, he's got such a varied top 10, and already this is so different to what we saw in qualifying. Michael Francesconi, currently the man in P10 for Silverline, has got himself up there now. So it's really interesting to see. I think we're going to see a very, very big race for especially perhaps 6th position downwards, all the way down the field to around 15th, because any one of those drivers could effectively jump into the top 10, you know, if there's any incidents.
They could. A couple of key times to look at. Of course, Jeffrey Wright felt quickest to warm up, and we've got Jim Priest's 8th. But just watch Morgan Moran go around the outside of Marcel van der Linden up the hairpin at the end of the second sector. So obviously, that's about actually Wright's actually gone one quicker. He's actually gone up to third. So he's definitely showing what kind of pace he's got, and I'm expecting to go absolutely rat through the field. And I expect to be in the top 10 in a relatively short time, as is with Paris's 9th quickest so far. As for the other drivers like the Peter Burlack, he's only 19th quickest on a 149.912. I think he's going for a quicker lap now as he comes to the end of it. He's following one of the silver line cars, which is Francesconi. And let's see how well he did. I think the reason why the time wasn't better is because he got held up by Varga as he rounds the final corner. Let's see where this time will place Burlack in warm-up, as we're due to go in about a few minutes. And Burlack going to go 16th, 159.346. Also looks like Stefan Kanitz has jumped in as well, and he is going to be racing for AT Racing. So I think he's in place, of course, for Stoffel Van Dorn, who I'm not sure if Stoffel's racing again this weekend, but nevertheless, it's him alongside Sebastiano Filosa. So interesting to see how the two AT Racing cars get on this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously another car on the grid. I mean, the thing is, you see Thomas Cook with a big slam into the wall there for the Matt Corp. And I think cars maybe just finding out the limits of this circuit, perhaps a rather hard way at the moment.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that the regular basis in the race, otherwise you will not have a car left. Race director said we're going to the race in less than a minute, so just getting the final few preparations. And of course, the point of warm-up is really just for the cars to get onto race fuel, get onto race tyre, just to kind of adjust to kind of different weights, and just to get the car all kind of just to get comfortable with how the car feels. Oh, and I think that's Jonathan Attercliffe with a huge slam into the wall on the exit. I think it was about turn 14 or turn 15. So that was again, don't want to be doing that on a regular basis. As the race director has now signalled, we are now moving to the race, and he just says good luck, no chat, and drive safely. So I hope that will be the case. So here we go then.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Grid as we see it.
Absolutely. Then so it'll be Morgan Moran who leads the field around the formation wrap. So while that goes on, they'll quickly just run through the order. So Moran was the man who claimed pole position. That's exactly the way he wanted to do it. He needs to try and repeat that during the race and hopefully gain some big points on Bonaquisa. And that will really heat the championship up. But to do that, we'll have to keep Jack Keithley at bay and never underestimate this man. He's definitely, you know, a worthy contender, and he's obviously got the pace to be up in second. Yannick Lapchin, Morgan's ex-teammate, starts in P3, just in front of Rasmus Tarley in P4 for GT Omega. So very, very strong result there for him. John Eric Saxon starts in P5 in front of Erasmus Gulli, the other ATR, in P6. Giorgio Boldi, the young gun, starts in P7 in front of Edward Malorki in 8th position. Blair Disney got his silver line up into P9 in front of Patrick DeVitt in P10.
P11, best of the rest, Shark and Meekin in the second position car ahead of Marcus Hoffman for Ash Racing. Peter Vargas sits 13th for Netrex Grand Prix. Ahead of Marcel van der Linden for RS Evo. 15th was Thomas Cook, and he is for Matt Core Racing alongside Sebastiano Filosa for AT Racing. Michael Francesconi in the second Silverline car, his first World Championship race, 17th. Ahead of Giuseppe Marconi in fastest speed 18th. Then there's the rather rapid trio of Jim Parisis, Peter Burlack, and Jeffrey Wrightbelt for Go Speed, Twister, and GT Omega respectively. Rounding out the grid is Jonathan Attercliffe in the sole RC F1 Racing team car, and on row 12 is George Chatsapantelis for Ash Racing and Stefan Kanitz, another rapid driver, starting at the back of the field in 24.
Absolutely then, so last chance for the drivers to warm their tyres and brakes. I think warming the brakes will be a much bigger issue. Now we saw this yesterday, look how much of a gap Miranda's got to the cars behind. Now this is a very interesting kind of strategy here, just looking to perhaps get away with it, and granted he's got plenty of room to warm the tyres and the brakes, but maybe he's jumped the gun a little bit there. You know, Jack Keithley's just appearing in the distance now and bringing the cavalry with him.
The one thing you don't want to really do is kind of have that bigger gap to the cars behind you, because really the cars at the front, if you just try to streak away and leave everyone behind, by the time you get to your grid slot, you're going to be sat there and the engine's going to be, temperature's going to be going up. You know, at the same time the tyre temperature's going to be going down, so all that hard work that you've done warm the tyres and the brakes, it's just going to be gone to nothing if you just streak away. And I think Moran's realised that now as he's decided to stack the pack once again, so he'll bring them down towards the final couple of corners. We're all set for 57 laps then around the Valencia street circuit. Hopefully this afternoon's race will be a bit more interesting than we've seen in real life Formula 1, and I'm pretty sure with the talent we've got on display this afternoon, that should be hopefully the case.
Absolutely then, so the drivers just getting ready to line up on their grid spots. Moran sits in P1, looks directly across him to his right. Jack Keithley sits there waiting, eager to try and perhaps shake things up a bit. If he could get past Moran in turn 1, it'll be utterly fantastic as we wait for the rest of the field to line up on their spots. And then you can almost hear the heartbeats of the drivers now. You can just feel the tension between the drivers and the teams. And this really is going to be one of probably the most enduring races of the year, and definitely one dominated by strategy. So eyes on the lights then as we wait to go green here at the streets of Valencia. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. And we're green flag at Valencia. Moran gets a good start by the looks of things at the moment. He's pulled away a good gap to Keithley. Should be able to hold that into turn 1 as the field comes streaking through. And hopefully won't be any contact as the field all goes swarming through, maybe 2, 3 wide. It's looking at the moment like Miranda's got the job signed, sealed and delivered up front.
Looking back, Jonathan Asselcliff is stalled on the line. Stefan Canitz, I think, hasn't even left the pit lane even yet.
Carnage in the backfield. Look at this from P15 back. That was a huge pile-up. They've all got going again, but there's still, it's like bumper cars out there at the moment. Masculi's the way there in P14. Behind him, you've got Franceschioni, Burlak, Parisis up to P17, so a good start by him. Rizal's just behind. I think that's Chapter Pentalis from wing. Oh, it's another pile up now. I think that's one of the Maxwell.
It's Thomas Cook.
Thomas Cook
he
there.
He's up to 7th. He's down to 21st. Edward Milwaukee's out of the race as well. That's a terrible start for him. Rest of the first to come down towards the turn 11. Miranda still leading Keithley. Yeah, Lapshin and Charlie's back for 3rd place, and look at Baldy trying to get his nose in there as well.
The also opportunity to get his nose in. Yeah, Giorgio Baldi trying to definitely Rasmus Tali that he's not a force to be put aside and shoved aside. He's definitely trying to show his presence. He's currently up to 5th, so a great start. The field really has taken a huge stepping out. You see a bit of side-by-side action here. Marcus Hoffman defending against David. David swarmed up the inside. Oh, and he's got it done, but no, Hoffman's going to get the cutback. But I think just about David got that done. So a textbook maneuver there by David. As the field all separate out now, and that was a very, very interesting first lap.
Just about to tell us that front wing. He's touring around in 20th at the moment. Stefan Canitz has got going. He's all the way back in 21st place. It's not exactly a very good start then for the AT Racing cars. So through the first lap they come then, and it is of course Moran starting to streak away already with a 1.4 second advantage over Jack Keithley in 2nd. Lapshin in 3rd from Tardy, under attack from Baldi in 5th behind him. Then a gap to Disney in 6th. Up to 7th from 11th on the grid. There's a huge pack of cars being led by Varga. For 8th has got David shoved right under his gearbox. And then Van der Linden and Martin battling away.
Yeah, Van der Linden needs to move into turn 1. Almost also had a look at Patrick David. Van der Linden, we said it'd be a fortunate top 10. Oh, it comes out there. And a big slam into Peter Varga. And now look at this, trying to go on the outside. Hoffman through the bridge inside. That's very impressive. He's got it done. And now it's utterly opportunist there. He saw the gap, he went for over the bridge. I've never seen that before.
Look behind them, because look at the rapid trio. Parisis is up there with Eros Masculi, and also Peter Burlak in right foot. The trio, look at that, we've got right, in fact it's all going off in front, look at that. We've got, I don't know where to look for a second. Vargas trying to hold off from Hoffman. Filosa and Van der Linden side by side out the corner was behind them as well. Francesconi is now to defend the Parisis. Burlak's got past Masculi. Right foot's on the television. Jerry Saxon's down to 18 as well, so must have been due to what's happened in the first lap shenanigans. But really, it's going to everyone forget what's going on the front. The closest battle really for 3rd place between Lapshin, Tarly and Baldi. Kicking off behind, we've got cars every which way, and Burlak trying to carve his way through the first. A huge traffic of cars when they come to the 2nd sector.
Absolutely, Varga just about breaking clear of Hoffman now as his sights set off the Patrick DeWitt's Max. But Hoffman bringing the cavalry with him as they swarm into the final corner. You can see Pelosa got a great start up to P12. So we're definitely looking for some points. I think one of the HDRs into the pit lane. I think that's Jeffrey, that's not Jeffrey Ritveld, it was Masculi. It's in the pit lane. Look at them all swarm down into turn one. Jeffrey Ritveld looking up the inside perhaps of the twister, and he's following Jim Parisis. These two very fast, they want to be a lot higher, but to do that, they've got to navigate their way through this, which is going to be, well, interesting. It's going to be an understatement. This is going to be extremely fun to watch, because just up front, you can see a little bit further in front now, Varga is losing time once again to Hoffman. He had to lock his brakes there to avoid a little bit of contact. There's into the bridge. Van der Linden sticking it with them as well. And just behind Sebastian Velosa is currently having his own little train behind him.
Patrick's a bit decided he wants no part in this battle. He's just starting to streak away in 8th place. Just ahead as well. Meeken's kind of being no man's land, but just trying to tag onto the back of Bledis's car. Now it's a bit of a 4-car train developing for 3rd place now as Tarley now takes over that place at the moment. From Lapshin's lost 2 places in fact. He's gone down to 3rd, that's a 5th, so he's been passed by Tarley and Baldi in the process. Now he's under from Blair Disley, still up there in 6th place. Then, as we said, Meeken's kind of a little bit of no man's land in 7th, just trying to tag onto the back, and then Patrick's a bit quite a gap to him. And that battle's now starting to spread out a bit now from that train of cars. It's been headed by Varga. Hoffman and Van der Linden still tagging. He's not got Francesconi. Oh, and look at that, that was great. Going very, very well to put the hairpin. And that has allowed Berlak to get through, at least stay ahead for the moment. And obviously Berlak's now trying to tag on and pass Jim Parisi. So we said these three quartet of very rapid drivers near the back. They're trying to come through the field, but of course they've got to try and not to trip over themselves. As all Parisi tries up the inside of Francesconi, up the inside the final corner, but couldn't quite get himself alongside quick enough. And top 10 still battling away then. But at the moment, Morgan Moran has a 2.4 second advantage over Jack Keithley. This is impressive actually, because Keithley is doing everything he can now to not only keep with Moran, but also this is going to be secretly impressing Precision, because of course we know he's a class driver, and of course filling in for Bono Huis whilst he's sunning himself somewhere. I'm not quite sure where he's gone, but nonetheless, definitely doing a good job to keep Precision in the podium places. And I think now, after the crazies the first couple of laps, I think just starting to calm down a bit more now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just time now for these drivers to perhaps find their rhythm, but it will be a bit hard behind Sebastian Velosa's little arsenal of cars he's bringing with him, because you've got Francesconi, Parisis, Berlak, Rietveld, Saxon, all these guys not necessarily notoriously known. As you can see, Rietveld drives up the inside there. Oh, he's got that done surely over Berlak. But these guys are not notoriously known for their kind of patience in this. They want to try and get the move done as soon as possible, as Berlak's trying to show now as he tries to come back against Jeffrey Ritveld. So these two are going hammer and tong at the moment, and this is allowing guys in front such as Parisis to get not a big gap, but it's enough for a little bit of breathing space.
They're just starting to get into their own separate little groups now. In fact, look, I'm just watching up the battle for P5. And they're Disney's now all over the back of the outer lap, and that's also allowed after Meekin closing. So Position's still doing well then with both cars in the top 10 as we mentioned. The Bit's not really being able to close in on them, and he's still leading the head of this little trio that's being headed by Peter Varga. Then there's still that traffic jam actually going on. I think really it's been kind of headed by Seth Veloso, who's streaking away from Francesconi. And then it's kind of Parisis going on. There's a bit of a lock-up just in front of them, but yeah, these four are going to have to try and get a move on and at least decide what they're going to do with themselves, because if they just keep battling each other, the cars around them are going to benefit from them. Essentially, no one has to think Mark Penny will tag onto the back of his teammate, and of course Francesconi and Veloso are going to streak away. So really, they're going to stop kind of almost try and work together, if you like, a bit subconsciously, and also try and get themselves back up the field, because they're not going to make any major impression on the field for the rest of the race if they stay exactly where they are right now.
Very good point as Ritveld looks back up the inside of Parisis almost there. So these two started together. They're up to 15th and 14th respectively. And I'm sure these two aren't going to just, you know, stop their battle right now. They're also quite good friends outside the track. So when it comes to the track, Parisis dives up the inside there of Francesconi, who tries to swoop around the outside. A little bit of a tap, but nothing major. But now he's got to be careful, because by doing that, he's allowed Ritveld all over the rear wing of him. Now that is one of the downsides to a street circuit. You try and move, it doesn't pay off. You're going to have Ritveld all over the back. If he tries to find a move, he's got the prime overtaking opportunity. Where does he look? Parisis, oh, they can't go through that. Surely they're going to try. As Ritveld ducks in behind, tries to get the cut. They almost went 4 wide for a minute there. As you can see, Parisis still trying to claim onto Francesconi, but these four couldn't be any closer right now.
It's a concertina effect. They almost kind of like went back into each other. And Paris, how close do you want to be under the rear wing of Francesco's car? Again up the inside, and right that's now under attack from Burlack again. Now look at Saxon. Saxon's made it a 5-car train down the pit straight as they start lap 7. Lap 6, excuse me. And Paris instead has got a prime tries to have a look up the inside into turn 2. He's up the inside this time. He may just Francesco, but he has to yield on this occasion. And that's Paris up to 13th. Next time he's closer. And now look at Wrightfoot up the inside of Francesco. And Burlack will try and go with him. Wrightfoot's made it stick. That's 2 of the 4 cars trying to get through. Next up into Burlack. But Francesco, he's not done yet. He wants that place back. He's going to try and go around the outside. Up towards turn 2. Look at Burlack trying to go around the outside as well.
Almost 3 wide. No, that's lucky that runoff area is there.
Look at Saxon. Look at Saxon. He's got past Burlack and out the inside of Francesconi. God, how close do you want it? These 5 just do not want to leave each other alone.
Absolutely, Francesconi momentarily has a bit of clean air, but just behind him he's got no break. It's still called Saxon now, trying to defend from the sister of Peter Burlack, who's looking up the inside. Can he get it done? It's going to be close. Saxon trying to hang on for dear life, but has to surrender it as they go through. So now the field's starting to separate out a little bit now, because now Revel can focus on Parisis, but these two, if they can get good lap times in, will catch up Faloza. Just in front of them you've got Van der Linden, Hoffman and Varga all tuning away over P9. These are the final points positions up for grabs then. Varga currently the holder of P9. Marcus Hoffman 10th, Van der Linden, we said he wants the top 10 today, sits in 11th. Faloza losing them a little bit now and slipping victim to Parisis and Rietveld. So there's 2 drivers you don't want to be closed in on that quickly by.
But the front Moran's advantage now is 3.6 seconds over Keith, so Keith is doing a great job not to let Moran streak away. He's definitely got the pace in there in that precision car to at least try and tag on at some point to the back of Moran's car, but it looks like Moran has the ultimate pace overall at the moment. The gap's now just gone up by another 10th in the first sector already, so Moran definitely is on maximum attack mode at the moment. Behind, so the battle for 4 spread out a bit more. Tarly's run away in 3rd place a little bit, and then it's Baldy's to whole stage in 4th. Lapshin is 5th from Disney and Meekin, who's now caught on the back of the Australian. And DeWitt's now the one in no man's land in 8th place, and now Vargas are trying to make chase after him. Hoffman and Van der Linden battling over 10th place. And then we've got Falosa. That trio of cars back now. It's actually Francesconi being under attack from Burlack this time. So Burlack's managed to stay ahead of Saxon. And can he grab a toe down towards, I think it's turn 11 or turn 12. He's actually getting a lot closer, and he goes to the outside towards turn 11. He's going to be under brake, going to try and sweep around the outside, and he goes wide, but is he going to make it stick? Well, that was close. Very ambitious from Burlack, and again he's looking very frustrated. He wants to get past the silver line car, but at the moment, so I think it's a prime passing opportunity and a good run, which I think he has right about now down towards the hairpin. He's going to have to try and do what he's got at the moment. Burlack sweeps, darts out from the outside. Last of the late breakers down towards the corner. Francesconi out breaks himself completely, goes too deep, and Burlack takes 50 from Francesconi. Next target for the target which Francesconi will be next of, if that makes any sense, Eric Saxon in 17th. So definitely the guys from the back are making their way up to the field. Quick note, Parisis and Ripple have gone together, and they are now pretty much almost on the back of Falosa, so definitely trying to move up as Saxon's in the pits now. Seeing him dart in from 17th, so either he's on he's sticking to the original strategy he had, or he's trying to change it up so he can at least try and move up to the field at a later date.
Indeed it is, very, very exciting to say the least. Opening stint of the race, I'm sure that'll only continue as the race runs on, but as we said, back at the front, Morgan Moran doing exactly what he needed to do, and he's pulled out a little bit of a gap now on Keithley, the gap up to 4 seconds. So Moran just doing what needs to be done. He knows he needs to win this race in order to keep his championship hopes alive. If he doesn't take maximum points from this race, it's really going to hurt him.
Absolutely, as you said, he's definitely doing what he needs to do. The key is going to exactly what kind of strategies he's going to pick. And we saw, of course, in Hungary, he decided to go 1 stop less, and that kind of worked for the most part. But it seems to be there's kind of like a back and forth effect. So it seems to be that, depending on what the situation was, Moran was always able to get out in front on his pit stops. But at the same time, at each stop, we had enough pace to get progressively closer at each time Moran gets to the pit. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what kind of strategy he'll pick. Well, I guess if he's going to be wide, you may possibly take the safe option, go for maybe, I'm guessing, I think a 4-stop strategy. If he's feeling brave, you may try a 3-stop, but it all depends on just exactly how hard he wants to push it and how much he wants to risk, because Tarly heads into the pits there for 3rd place. So he's one of the early front runners to make a pit stop, and Disney jumping in as well. So 3rd and 6th places are in the pits already.
Absolutely, a bit further back though, it looks like Rietveld and Parisius are gaining extremely quickly on the back of the 18 Racing. Sebastiano follows it, so he's definitely going to come under pressure from those two in a minute. And they're almost working together, those two. They've carved through the field together. As you said, they are quite good friends outside the track. So see what they can do when it comes to racing, because I'm sure if they're pitted against each other, it'll be one of the most entertaining battles. As now Rietveld has a little bit of a run on Parisius, but it's not quite enough. Interesting to see if it's if you get a top 10 at the end of the race on who comes out on top out of the two of them. I think the pit stop window may be underway now for perhaps the 4 or 5 stoppers. Varga goes a little bit deep there, as you can see Rasmus Tarley now trying to work his way back through the field.
Quick note on the two cars that just stopped, just seeing that Tarley's going back out in 8th, ahead of the battle between, he's behind Peter Varga. He went side to side as they came out of the pit lane, so he's just behind trying to size him up for 7th place down towards turn 11. And also looking back, Blair Dizzy came out in 14th. He's just behind the battle between Priestess and Reed. Priestess now down the inside, and they're going side by side into the complex. And Priestess holds station ahead of Rietveld then for the moment. But yet DC came out behind that battle and in front of Peter Bella. That's going to be crucial though, because if Bella wants to make any steps forward, at the moment he's going to have to pass Disney on track as the two cars in front still battling away between Priestess and Rietveld. Rietveld darts out again to the outside, tries really deep on the outside under brakes, and tries to do a switch back on the exit. I'm surprised he didn't go straight on at that rate. That was the latest brakes I've ever seen. And Rietveld sticking off the rear wing of the Ghost Speed car light blue. And he has a dart, looks to the inside again. He's getting very risky indeed. And again to the outside. And he's trying to switch back onto the pit straight. And he might just have it. He might have a traction down towards turns 1 and 2 then. As Varga's now headed into the pits then. From what was 7th.
Rietveld tries to the inside. I think Parisius just about is showing everything he's got in terms of defending now. He's telling Rietveld, you know, in a way, if you want to get past, you're going to have to do something special. Rietveld looking at every opportunity. Parisius, though, just sweeping it round, keeping calm, while Rietveld must be getting a bit riled up now, because look behind him, he's got Disley and Burlack all over the back of him. So another 4-car train is formed, but this time, Rietveld and Co are just in front of it and leading it as Rietveld tries again through that corner. But again, no success, and he just keeps trying to stay on the rear wing of Jim Parisius, and surely it's only a matter of time.
Another 4-car trend developing. I've seen just in front, it's actually being led by Marcus Hoffman, headed past Marcel Van Linden, Gerger Baldi, Sebastiano Falosa, just falling off the back of those words. That as the battling quartet immediately behind them carries on. And Rietveld again has another look at Parisius, and Bid Disley looking very risky. He's in that catch-22 situation now. He's going to try and watch the 2 cars ahead and pick his moment. At the same time, he's got to watch his mirrors, because Verlac will be very feisty behind them. As again, Rietveld got another run down towards the hairpin into the 2nd sector, and he's going to try again to the outside. He's trying to go again deep. No, he's gone to the inside. What a fantastic dummy that was! And he sold him a complete dummy. And he's trying to get. Will he make the move stick though up the inside? Yes, he has. Wonderful pass from Jeffrey Rietveld into 11th place. Then his car still got to stop. And I think now Jack Keith in the pits now from 2nd place. Jakob Meekinen now takes over the role for position at the moment.
Oh, Parisius up the inside, he's got him! Oh, big save there by Rietveld, sorry to dart into the final corner. Parisius gave him a little bit of a bump on the right rear tyre, and Rietveld somehow switched the car back the other way and kept the position. So he hasn't passed Parisius. Parisius trying to come back at him though, but Rietveld was very lucky to keep the car in a straight line after that one.
Absolutely, just saw it in the replay, very, very lucky.
Blair Disley tries to get involved now, but he's still got his rear mirrors full of Peter Burlack at the moment as they stream through this 4-car train. Has expanded a little bit. Yannick Lapchin now the man who has made his stoppers a bit further back now as Rietveld comes on to the rear end of him. And now look at Parisius coming under pressure from Blair Disley. Disley, of course, very calm and collected. He's not going to try anything too unnecessary. But now Franciacioni is caught the back of that pack. So another 4-car train has formed as Lapchin and Rietveld escape. Another driver adds on.
Seen George Pantelis is out of the race, just exited the garage, so that's not unfortunate for him and for Ash Race. Quick note on Jack Keithley, stopped from 2nd place. Not too bad, he's come out in 4th place, but he has come out just behind, immediately behind Patrick DeWitt, so he's going to have to pass him on track. And that's going to lose him time for Morgan Moran, as actually the lead is actually into the pits now. So Morgan Moran is making his first stop there, the end of lap 11
he goes
here
at the
at Valencia.
Can he make a mistake? Yes, he can. Sorry to interrupt you there, Scott, but big move there by Disley, and that is very crucial to his strategy, because right now Burlack still can't get past that silver line.
Now also, we've got a couple more cars coming. We've got Meekin has just pitted as well. Marcus Hoffman's in the pits. Rietveld's in, Paris is in, Burlack's in. Look at they're all coming in. Francisco, this is the lap 11 is the lap because the pit stop, pit lane's absolutely packed. Pit crew's working away furiously. Look at that. Let's not probably one pit box that isn't vacant. And look at them trying to streak out. Let's just try and see how they filter out here. And it's Rietveld ahead of Hoffman, then Van der Linden. Let's stop. That was from Rietveld. He went straight through, or just actually had a rapid pit stop. He's back out in 12th place. How's he 11th place? How's he done that? That's incredible.
Utterly incredible. He's in front of Hoffman and Van der Linden. So those two were dueling away for the final points positions. They've now got a new rival to that battle. Van der Linden down to 13th. Faloza just behind them has dropped down a little bit as well. Then you see Burlack, Saxon and Parisis. So I wasn't really gone to plan there, but Jeffrey Rietveld was definitely the biggest mover of that pit window.
Not to mention, of course, that Burlack has got out ahead of Parisis. So that's not really worked for him. Effectively, that means that Parisis has lost 2 places. He's lost a place to Rietveld, and of course he's lost a place now to Burlack in the stops. And also, in fact, Saxon's even passed Parisis now, so that must have been a dreadful stop for Parisis, and his luck really hasn't gone with him. But just quickly switching from one goes to be car, not having all the luck going his own way to one is, of course, there is Morgan Moran. He's got now 6 seconds to Jack Keithley, and a nice clean stop, and it got him out pretty much still in the lead. So that's exactly just the pace that he had. Patrick De Witt is in the pits now, so of course he's making it stop at the end of lap number 12 from 4th place, and that's now put Tarley back into 3rd place. He's actually right on the back of Keithley now. So Tarley's had a fantastic pit stop as well. In fact, he's one of the early pit drivers to pit, and he's now really getting himself onto the back. I think also the fact that Keithley was stuck behind a bit for a couple of laps before he pitted was probably a main factor as to why not only Keithley lost time to Brandon in front, but to Tarley behind. And now Tarley smells a 2nd place at the moment. He's definitely going to try and make a pass up the inside very soon. And I'm pretty sure that if he gets into tow on one of the long fast sections down here, he'll have a chance to grab it from Keithley.
Absolutely. Look at this man as well. Another big mover from the pit stops. The man in 4th place, Jojo Boldy. Absolutely great to see him now. He said he wanted, maybe a lower top 10. He said he didn't really have the pace earlier on, but now he's definitely proven everyone wrong once again. He's up to P4. Still yet to stop, I believe, but nonetheless, that's a remarkable result there for Netrex at the moment.
Also, what's really interesting is Giuseppe Marconi's up to 10th. Just behind us, about going for 12th between Hoffman and Van der Linden. So it's going to be Hoffman's defending, Van der Linden set him up. They're going side by side down towards the complex into the braking area. And bit of wheel banging there, but Hoffman's going to try and get deep. He's gone a bit too deep, but holds on to the position nonetheless. Van der Linden tries to stick it round the outside. It's almost worked. He gets his nose down the inside for the next corner, but he's not quite close enough. Again, they bang wheels. And Falosa, Burlack and Saxon are watching this now, and they're going to close in. Van der Linden's in that toe once again. He's going to go to the outside. Now we've got Rietveld trying to go around the outside.
Oh, Van der Linden smashed into him. And I'm not quite sure whose fault that may have been. I'll quickly look back on the replay, but both of them losing front wings. So Van der Linden, I think, has looked to the inside, went to switch to the outside, but did it too late, came right across and hit Hoffman, who then both of them lost their front wings and went spearing off the track. It's a disaster there for the RS Evo team.
Parisis as well. Oh, Parisis, look at that, was very close. Look, he just nudged Van der Linden. That was so close. In fact, Parisis, look, almost that breaks himself into the final corner as Van der Linden and Hoffman enter the pits together. And wow,
Linden overtook him on the entrance.
He did as well. That's not going to please him anymore either. But nonetheless, that was a pretty heart-stopping moment down towards. I think the cars behind definitely probably would have had their hearts in their mouths. And Marconi is down to 13th as a result of everything that went on. In fact, he's contact with his teammate Saxon. Steady up, boys. That's the one person you don't want to hit is your teammate. That's exactly what happened there. A bit of wheel banging between those two. So. See the car a bit down. We're only 13 laps gone on lap 14 now, and it's really starting to get a bit. Things are getting a bit risky.
Absolutely, Peter Burlack as well, trying to get all over the back of Sebastian Falosa. See what he can do. Falosa's doing a good job at the moment in AT Racing. He hasn't really seen too much action. He's had to train a couple of times, but apart from that, kept his nose clean, and in turn, it's got him a good result. But right now, Burlack is definitely trying to take that from him. He's been the man on the move quite recently. See what he can do against Falosa. John Eric Saxon as well, tucked away just behind.
So let's just see how the pit stops are shaken out there. Of course, we've got Van der Linden's actually retired. Actually, he's out of the race as a result of the damage. this is how it's shaking out. So Moran's extended his lead now to 7.6 seconds ahead of Jack Kingsley. Tarley is still tagging onto the rear wing, so he's not really been able to make a massive challenge so far. Bally's up to 4th, great stuff from him. Lapsh's holding station in 5th ahead of Jarkko and Meekinen. Remember, Meekinen started 11th. Disney as well, still in the top 10, holding in 7th. The Vet is up to 8th place, so he's pretty much where he qualified. And then Varga and Jeffrey Riefelt with a fantastic effort, 10th place already. We said he's going to be one of the cars at the back of the field that are going to be pretty rapid. And he's doing a fantastic effort to hold it in 10th place.
Look at Burlack.
Oh, Burlack, yeah.
On Faloza around the outside, there's a good move there, and that should be signed, sealed, delivered. Now Faloza's going to have to be even more careful. With John-Eric Saxon, will be trying to get past very shortly, but Burlack, the man on the move, and that's given him P11.
Stefan Canet is up to 17th after starting in the back of the field. Actually, you think he was late getting away from the pit lane, so not bad from him. He's probably not as quick as he'd probably like, but Canet's still soldiering on for the AT Racing. Of course, his teammate Felos is in 12th there, battling away with John-Eric Saxon at the moment down the back, one of the back sections towards the complex. Belleck's trying to streak away, so definitely these three still close to each other as Saxon has a look on the outside into turn 11. But he's not quite close enough, so he's definitely going to try it again at some point, maybe down here towards the hairpin into the braking area.
Yeah, absolutely, of course, it's still barely underway here. We've still got quite a long time to go. So it's all going to be, well, the next major in the race will be, of course, the second round of pit stops. It'll be interesting to see as well who comes in first. Remember, the first guy started pitting around lap 7, so we'll see if anyone tries to repeat that.
So we can see what we've got in front. The gap's up to 8.2 seconds, and Moran definitely trying to again extend that advantage that he's got. And as we said, this really needs to be a perfect race for Moran, and he needs to take those maximum points in order to close that gap to Huis. Because of course, remember, Miranda's only won one race now compared to the 6 or the 7, the 6. Sorry, that Huis has won already. So definitely a massive points gap, and definitely anything that Moran can do to close the gap is going to be crucial. Just some information I've just had on the incident between Marcus Hoffman and Marcel van der Linden. Marcel van der Linden reported that apparently Hoffman closed the door and pushed him into the wall, and he was unhappy that he had stable pace, actually had some stable pace to try and make a good finish in the top 10. And also he's claiming that Hoffman was also double blocking as well, so that could be an incident that the race stewards could possibly be looking at if they're listening to the new piece of news there. But yeah, unfortunate circumstances for Van der Linden. He's looking pretty strong, and just a shame that his race has ended prematurely.
Yeah, it's a real big shame now. You know, he was looking so strong, as you said, but it was just an unfortunate move on Hoffman. Just looked to the outside a bit too late, and you're so hard trying to swing out of a slipstream when you're still gaining. So unfortunately for him there, that has damaged his race. Hoffman also currently sits 19th behind Marconi. Those two are still reasonably close together, but nonetheless, I think Hoffman's still going to be slightly upset with that.
Yeah, just see what's going on with Jeffrey Wright-Belt's about just under 4 seconds away from Peter Varga in 9th, so I think he's trying to start his charge to get himself into the higher ranks of the top 10, and Wright-Belt definitely showing what he's got at the moment. Burlack's not doing too bad either. He's holding station 11th, just ahead of Pelosi, who's now having to defend for John-Eric Saxon once again as they go across the line to start lap number 17 of this afternoon's FSR World Championship Spanish Grand Prix around the streets of Valencia. And Stefan Canitz is out, just spotted it there, and let's see what happened to him. Let's have a look, see if I can catch it on the replay, because he's literally just retired. What happened? Did he have a... Let's have a look, looking at the replay, let's have a look. And did he lose it? Did he... Oh, it looks like he just either retired or disconnected maybe, I'm not quite sure. Didn't see any contact with anyone, so could possibly just be a plain disconnect. That's rather unfortunate. But he had 6 cars retire already of the 23 odd cars that started, so I wonder what's going to be happening. Got a battle for 18th going on. That's between, of course, Hoffman and Marconi. Marconi's gone very deep in fact, and Hoffman takes it back, so Hoffman is up to 17th then. Marconi struggling at the moment, it seems, back down 18th, and he's actually the last car that's running out on track, because we still have because of the 6 retirement. So it's actually a 24 car field, excuse me. We've had 6 out, 18 still running then in this afternoon's race. The gap at the front quickly is up to 9.5 seconds between Moran and Keithley. So Moran doing everything pretty much absolutely to textbook standards.
Absolutely, so John Eric Saxon as well, also trying to catch Faloza for 12th position. He's gaining very quickly, but dives into the pit lane. So we said the second round of stops would be coming soon for the early stoppers. Saxon obviously being the first there, I think, so it's just going to need to be a lightning stop now. He wants to try and keep in front of, well, keep his current position. But nonetheless, I think, you know, Saxon, after a bit of a bad start, slipping way down the order, he's done a fairly good job at the moment, to be honest. He's got himself back into contention for some low-end points.
Absolutely, he's just definitely doing everything he can. And Faloza is he's about 2 seconds off Burlak in front in 11th, and then he's further. I'd say overall he's 8 seconds behind Rietveld in 10th, so he's definitely going to step it up and maybe try and tag onto the back of Burlak. He wants to set any chance of possibly grabbing himself 1 or 2 points in the lower ranks of the top 10, hopefully, and hope that 1 or 2 of the drivers in front start suffering with their brakes or get into trouble later on in the race. That's really obviously. That, along with raw pace, is any real chance he's going to have of grabbing himself a top 10 edition today and try and at least salvage something from AT's races. Well, they've only really got 1 car in the top 10 collectively, which is the ATR management car of Yannick Lapshin in 5th. So really, it's not been the best afternoon for the ATR management company as a whole with their 2 teams, as they're definitely just struggling along to try and make ends meet. As we've got Tarley and Disley heading into the pit, so that is Tarley in from what was third place. Disley in from 7th, so second round of stops is already happening, so these guys look like going to be possibly on a 4, if not maybe 5 stop strategy, depending on just how quickly the tyres are wearing here. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we're on to lap 18. Obviously the brakes are a bigger factor as opposed to the tyres this time, but maybe, you know, if you guys thinking it's time to try and perhaps get the jump on some of their competitors. But out the front, the gap between Miranda and Keithley, while it's not growing by a lot, it's still nonetheless growing. The gap is up to 9.9 seconds, almost 10 seconds separate Keithley from Moran. But I'll tell you what, Keithley, nonetheless, as you said, still in for Bono Quick's position, mate. You know, considering for a championship seat next year, he's definitely lived up to all the pressure today.
I think the combination of Jack Keithley and Bono Hoos will be pretty prominent, I think, because Keithley's definitely showing the pace. As we said, it's definitely an advert in the window for not only just his services for position, but maybe other teams may be looking to try and snap his services up. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, of course. The silly season hasn't really started in FSR. It doesn't really start until we get to the off-season, really. But nonetheless, and despite that, we do obviously have driver changes going on, obviously, throughout the season with drivers leaving one team to another. Prime example, of course, Morgan Moran, who left ATR to join Ghost Speed, and look how that's now changed his season. But through the field then, so there's any more cars coming in for pit stops, and looks to be the top 10, nothing so far. Just waiting keenly to see exactly what's going to happen. We had no more cars retiring yet, still 18 cars running from 24 that started. And we've got a couple of cars now that have been lapped, so Masculi, in fact they're almost coming up to be lapped, I think, in some cases, probably about another 20 seconds ahead of Morgan Moran. But I think so far, the race has been pretty entertaining. It's not really been dull, I think, to say the least. It's probably been a bit more entertaining than probably most of Valencia Grand Prix around Valencia. So looking through the field, I think we've had another car in. Yes, Peter Varga's in. A few more cars going past, so he's going to exit out. I think just behind or just alongside Jim Parisis. Yes, he will. But Parisis and Varga will go side by side into turn 2. And is Parisis going to hold on to it? Yes, just about. Almost took off Varga's front wing, but nonetheless, Parisis holds station and he's in 12th. Varga down to 13th out of the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all shaping up to be a very good second stint of the race. We're still barely halfway yet. Looks like still kind of stabilised at 9.9 at the front, and the field really has sort of separated out now as opposed to very chaotic early stint in the race. The only real major battle still is Eros Masculi. He's currently P18 trying to catch Marconi in Fast and Speed for P17. Hoffman's just in front now in P16. But there isn't really, that much action at the moment. The field's all sort of separated out and going on their own rhythm, and just waiting to, for all their strategies to sort of coincide once again. But right now, Rasmus Tarley, P5. He's done a very good job for GT Omega. He had a promising qualifying session. He's up to P5 now. If he can get a top 5 for the end of the race, I think GT Omega will take a huge step forward since the start of the season.
It's Tali, I think, at the moment, I think really is a net third place because Lapshan and Meekin still haven't pitted yet. So he's actually looking course at the moment to get himself a podium, I think. So I think Jack Keating in the pits can just drop down to third. Yes, he in fact he's just X to the pits, and oh, that's interesting. Just ahead of his teammate Jarkko Meekin. So, and that's actually worked out perfectly for Meekin because look at that. With Meekin behind him, he can use Meekin as kind of like a stopgap, as a block to keep Tali at bay, keep him occupied, while Keithley then starts about extending his advantage. And I'm pretty sure that Moran will be in the pits. If the top cars now start to come in, I'd expect him to be I'd say probably around this lap, I think. Look to be looking at quite a good pace. The gap's now back to 22 seconds now, so I think really next couple of laps, if not this lap coming up now, end of this lap, he'll be in the pits for top number 2.
Absolutely. So as you said, that's worked out perfectly for Keithley, because now if Paresis does, Tyler, beg your pardon, does try something, then he's got Meekin and there to not perhaps hold him up, but not give him an easy job of getting past, because if Meekin wasn't there, Tyler would be straight onto the back of Jack Keithley, and that could have really jeopardised his race.
Looking at Moran carries on. He's not pitting just yet. Cars behind him though. We've obviously put the gap on 23 seconds now, so really, if you look at, of course, Moran I think is actually key to come out the pits and make his pit stop and come back out, and he'll hold the lead easily. Marcus Hoffman, the other protagonist in the incident that occurred a few laps earlier, has just retired, and that's rather unfortunate, but I think that I'm pretty sure that Valencia wants to catch up with him and have an explanation of exactly what was going on in that incident. Can't see anyone else in the pits yet. Looking back to the field, no one's entered just yet. Looking back, right bus up to 8th place. Fantastic stuff from him. You think he's just ahead now, Blair Dizzy, so whether he's passed him just recently, that seems to be the case. Peter Burlack is currently running in 10th. Falosa heads into the pits from 11th place. That's now going. Oh, he's lost his front wing. I think Falosa, look on the replay, I think Falosa lost his front wing. Coming into the pit, let's have a look. Let's go on board with him. And oh yes, he did. He put the power down too soon, just before the pit speed limit line, and lost his front wing. So that's not worked out very well for the 18th racing driver. He now has a new front wing. He's rejoining back out in 15th, so that really hasn't worked for him. Hasn't lost, I think, too many positions. The rear end of the field is now pretty spread out.
And look at Tali on the inside. Sorry to interrupt you there, Scott. Tali up the inside of Meekin, and Keithley's cover has officially gone because Tali just steamrolls through past the other position driver of Jarkko Meekin, and he's done a good job there at the moment. But right now, Rasmus Tali needs to get his foot even further down on that throttle than ever, because if he can try and catch Keithley, he's got a chance at a potential second place here.
Miranda's in. He said he's going to be on the next couple of laps, and he is. He's making his second stop. And interestingly enough, look at second place. Lapshan is now being caught by Jack Keithley. He's right on the back hill, and I'm pretty much expecting, I would have thought that Lapshan will be in this lap, if not next. He's gone very wide. Yes, he is. He's into the pit. So Lapshan now relinquishes second back to Keithley. And Miranda's already left the pit lane. He's already going through turns 2 and 3. So the gap's now 13 seconds. Look at that. And now Meekin is carrying on. So Meekin also, of course, isn't pitting yet. The bit's now up to 5th. Valdi's up to 6th. Lapshan hasn't left the pits, as Rietveld's now in the pits now. So Rietveld now relinquishes 8th to Disley, and Lapshan rejoins 7th. He's just ahead of the Australian. So look at that, that's fantastic stuff from Moran. So only to extend his gap, but also to get out, get in, make his pit stop and get out. And the gap he only lost literally 9 seconds. So the gap was about 20, actually not even less than that. It was lost more than that, that's about 10 seconds. So very quick, very rapid stop then. So I think Moran's pretty much set at the moment, so just keep on this pace, and that is pretty much the win in the bag. But of course, as we see in the past, this is FSR, and anything can happen. So while Moran's looking safe, I wouldn't really count the. Actually, looking at it, I'll retract that statement. The race isn't done yet, so I wouldn't really count himself as Herman just yet. But of course, it's looking extremely good for the Frenchman to take maximum points back from Ruiz.
Absolutely. Now the battle for second has kind of extended a bit now. Tali may have had a little bit of newer tyre advantage over Jack Keithley, but it seems to have split because Keithley has pulled out a little bit of a gap, the gap over 1 second now, and he's slowly pulling away in the distance. So perhaps maybe the third time a pit stop, if Tali can get those new tyres fresher than Jack Keithley and still maintain that same sort of gap, he could have a chance. But it's very risky because, he starts to lose time as, if the tyres warm up and Keithley can get those tyres rubbing in and pull away, as Jarkko Meekin pulls into the pit lane. So it's looking at the moment like if Tarly can just about get a little bit more momentum, then he could very well find himself in a good position. Talking of good positions, Jojo Baldy, P5, trying to catch Patrick DeVitt, who's up to 4 for Matcourt. Both these guys have had a stormer of an opening stint here in Valencia. Let's see if Baldy's got what it takes to try and put the move on Patrick DeVitt. These two very, very close at the moment. Netrex versus Matcourt. It's good to see Matcourt back in the top 5 though. It's been a long, long time since we've seen them there.
Yeah, they were fantastic last season, of course, to beat Pubeline and Racing for them. Of course, they ran the Red Bull chassis, and I think in Pubeline even grabbed himself a position as well. He bragged at pole in Canada last year, and very prominent driving in that team with the selection of drivers they had. And but he said DeVitt now having to defend him from Baldy. I think DeVitt's made his second bit. You look at that, he's possibly going for a 4-stop, and Baldy's now crawling all over the back of the Matcourt car. Goes to the outside, and he'll be able to try and go round the outside. DeVitt actually goes too deep into the corner, out breaks himself. Baldy tries to switch back on the exit of the corner. Now got the outside for the following turn.
Well defended by Patrick DeVitt. Oh, bit of a, wow,
switch.
Very lucky there. But now look at that, may have actually helped him because he's hit right back in the slipstream, ducking and diving. DeVitt forces into the outside line. He's going to have to brake a little bit later and swoop it around the outside. But he tries to get the switch back and now has the outside line. But when they go into the final corners, and he can't quite get it done there, he's still trawling over the back of him like they're attached by a bit of string. Baldy is relentless in trying to get this done. He looks to the outside now. As he goes into the final corner, can he make a move? DeVitt is defending supremely at the moment.
He's
As he falls into the pit lane. So that's the end of that one. So Baldy, I think would have liked to get it done a little bit beforehand. That's not going to help him catch a car in front too much. But 4th place for Jojo Baldy at the moment. His race is looking very, very strong.
And while one Netrex car received the other ones under a lot of pressure, back to 9th place. Peter Varga under immense pressure from right, but he's been under that kind of pressure for about half a lap now, and Wrightfeld continuing his charge up through the field. And just behind him is Peter Belloc. He's now just got Jenkins just behind for company, about a second back now, so definitely trying to move his way through the field. But we're coming up to just about halfway through the race now. It's or approaching half distance, and still Moran leads him with a gap of 12 seconds back to Jack Heatley, who is holding about a 1.5 second gap between himself and Rasmus Tarly, and of course then the gap back to Gerger Baldy is pretty exactly 7 seconds between Tarly and the Hungarian. And Lapshin holding station ahead of Blair Disney, so, and then Meekin back in 7th. Then we've got Patrick DeVitt still holding on in 8th, who's just made his pit stop, and then Varga still trying to 9th place for how much longer as Rietvok closes in ever more. And then we've got Saxon, who are trying to close in 11th and 12th respectively, so Aparice is back in 13th. So those guys that started near the back of the field really made some have really made the jumps that they would have wanted to, but they're pretty much on the edge. Some are just in the points, some on the edges of them, so they're just slowly advancing back up through the field, and I think if they keep on the pace they are, they'll definitely move up at least 1 or 2 more spots.
Absolutely, that's what they need to be doing now. You know, this is our championship, all points are vital, so you need to try and get into that top 10 as soon as possible. I mean, right now, I think still though, you know, as we slowly coming towards the 3rd round of stops and the halfway point, this race really has started to take a different shape from what we first predicted. We had guys like John-Eric Saxon, who looked to be quite a dominant force in qualifying and slowly slipped back after a bad start. And we've seen new contenders sort of come into the mix now, DeVitt being one of them after making his recent stop. But it'll be interesting to see if the race does shake up once again. Jeffrey Ripfeld is someone who's currently just inside the top 10 at the moment. If he can try and catch Varga, moving to 9th, Ripfeld side from the back of the field, of course, in that GT Omega. I'll tell you what, at the moment, though, his teammate Rasmus Tarly 3rd, Ripfeld 10th, starting from the back of the field. I think Damian's going to be a very happy team boss right now.
Well, he is our broadcast director, the man doing our cameras, so I should imagine that he's going to be overjoyed, I think, if he gets a really decent result, especially with the podium, if Rasmus Tarly can hold on exactly where he is. I think, just quick note, he's definitely having a much better season than he had last year. I think last year with Fast Speed, he had probably one of his worst, if not his worst season with FSR. He had some very terrible results, some very bad luck with some failures and some incidents, so definitely with Matcourt, he's having a better time of it, and definitely looks so he's on course for a few points today, so they'll always help the Matcourt cause. And they said nice to see them back in the points, at least up there to challenge consistently for points. Also, no David Ratko, of course, he started the season, got a really decent 4th place, but nonetheless, Matcourt just surely but steadily getting back to their former glory. I think they've got a little way to go. but I think they're definitely on the right track with the drivers that they have at their disposal.
Absolutely, I mean, especially going into next season as well, there's a lot of young talent now coming through the ranks. All you've got to do is look to, for one, the NetRex team are taking advantage of this. You've got the likes of Peter Varga, Giorgio Boldi, and then there's so many of them coming through, Stefan Kanitz as well, Peter Burlak, Edward Malorki. All these guys, I'm sure, are more than worthy of a World Championship seat, but I think none more so at the moment currently has made more of an impact than this man, Jeffrey Ritveld. Of course, he's done an outstanding job so far. Now trying to catch another young gun of Peter Varga and the NetRex team. Let's see what Ritveld can do. He started off, you know, coming into this championship very, not so much a loose cannon, but it was very relentless in overtaking. He did a lot of aggressive moves, trying to push his way through the field, but I think now he's had a time to settle in at GT Omega. He's calmed himself down a bit, and he just makes the moves now without trying to force an opportunity. And because of that kind of maturity level increasing, he's in turn getting some really, really strong results here.
He's definitely showing some strong pieces. He can use his relentless assault on Peter Varga, and he's in a prime position now. He's got a nice toe down this first two back section towards the complex, down towards turns 11 and 12, and he may just dart out as Varga's defensive. Ritveld tries to go around the outside of it. He's going to make it right round the outside. What a pass that was! Fantastic effort from Ritveld. Wonderful stuff. Just stuck it down the outside. Absolutely went all out and just took the place. Big twitch just to seal the deal, and that's a nice place. But Varga's not done. He wants that place back immediately. He's going to go to the outside, try exactly the same tactic. Oh, that was close. How close do you want it? As Varga tries to go deep around the outside, it hasn't really worked, or has it? Bit of contact between each other, but they're still going. And again, they're keeping going. Varga lights up the rear tyres, but these two battling it away. But Ritveld at the moment seems to have the advantage as Varga goes wide on the runoff area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ritveld, that was an astounding pass around the outside to make that stick without making any contact. So fair play to him there. Definitely timed that right as we was building a little bit of hype around this young man. So definitely one to watch for the future, and definitely the future of this race as well. Of course, now the next man on his hit list would be Patrick De Vick, who's just 11 seconds in front, or 9 seconds, I beg your pardon. So we'll see if he can catch him during the next round of pit stops. So quickly go through the top 10, then Morgan Moran still currently leads from where he began in pole position. He's got a 12-second gap over the man in second place, of course, where he began, Jack Keithley. Third place is Rasmus Tali, so very strong showing there for GT Omega. Giorgio Boldi, probably I'd say rookie of the year at this rate, up to P4. P5 is Yannick Lapchin. P6, a very, very impressive Blair Disley. 7th place is Jakob Mikkonen. 8th, Patrick De Vitt. 9th, Varga. And 10th, Peter Berlak. So again, he's started from the back of the field. So that just shows you, these rear chargers who've evidently had the pace, really definitely, at a race of a lifetime to get into the top, end of the field today.
The top guys are charged compared to the race leader. Let's look at the Ritveld. Ritveld himself is 45 seconds off the lead. Berlak's 49, Sachs is 51, and Priest is 55. So they're definitely showing that they're trying to get as much pace as they can, but of course they can't really match the ultimate pace being set by Morgan Moran. So looking in terms of any cars that have been lapped, actually amazingly, no one's been lapped yet. The first going to be lapped, of course, is going to be Giuseppe Marconi in 17th, who's soldiering on. Marconi hasn't really made the biggest of impacts at Barcelona Speed. He's definitely one of those drivers that will at least get the car home, but I've never really seen him in a proper fighting position to get points or get some a decent result. No disrespect to him, of course. I'm not disputing his driving talent, but of course hasn't really been set the series on fire at all with his performances. I think really that a bit more practice, then they'll definitely try to get him up there. Is definitely trying his hardest, but nonetheless he's still trundling around in 17th. So hopefully we can see him up the front and near the points a bit more in the future. But at the moment he needs some work to do.
Absolutely. So as the race draws on, then I think the third round of pit stops could be nearing its way. So I think a few of the guys may consider taking an early stop to try and get a jump on their opponents. As De Vitt has actually lost the Baldy. I think he may have actually pitted there. Baldy's got quite on, but yeah, Baldy's actually gone on a flyer at the moment. He's up to P6 now, because having to wait until his next pit stop. Jakob Mikkonen just in front in P5. Mikkonen as well. This is a very strong showing for him actually. Being able to, if he could finish in a top 5, despite this all being shaken up by the current pit window, a top 5 for both positions would be great to see Mikkonen, back up there again.
I think this has been instant on track because it had both Sebastiano Filosa and Eros Mascudia both left the race. So let's really see what's happened there, because Filosa's. I've seen that direct already on the replay, but Velosa's been out of the race. Oh, Velosa lost it on the exit of turn 2, and then Masculi just... He went... Now, I need to see what happened because he looks like he's lost his front wing before he got to the front. Well, that's interesting. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened. Now, Masculi... Now, did he lose it on the exit of the final corner? I'll try and see where he lost it, but nevertheless... to the right. So Velosa and Masculi are tired. I think Masculi just slid into the wall. That's very weird. That's very weird indeed, but nevertheless, Masculi out of the race. I think he's obviously damaged his suspension somewhere, but 2 more cars out of the race then. And Marconi's in the pits, and he has actually now been lapped by Morgan Moran. But there seems to be definitely a race of attrition. There's been now, actually 15 cars in the race left now, so definitely rate of cars is going down by the minute. Battle for 8th on track we've just seen between Disley and Rietveld. Disley now been closed in by the GT Omega driver. Things just again starting to fan out a bit more for that small bit of excitement. So business as usual, it seems.
Indeed it is, and it looks like as well Patrick De Witt definitely trying to stick in towards Bold. He's still less than a second separating them. I'll just say that now 1.1. But it's the kid De Witt is, not going to surrender that too easily. He's not, immediately slipped way back through the field or lost a lot of time to the car in front. But Baldy, nonetheless, is definitely a matter. I reckon I would take him for a top 5 at this rate, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Keith is just pitted from second place, so that's his 3rd stop out of the way. And he is out head of Rasmus Tarley. So as either man's made a pit stop, or either Tarley has as well. I think maybe Tarley's made a pit stop somewhere because he's come back out. He's still 3rd, so I'm pretty sure the gap was bigger than that. So must have missed it off screen. Apologies for that. But Lapsha now up to 4th again. Meekin back up to 5th. Baldy's now holding in on his 6th ahead of Patrick De Witt. Blair Disley's now holding station at 8th. Jeffrey Rietveld is 9th. Peter Bellat just behind him in 10th. And then we've got Jim Paris holding station. Peter Vargas in 12th. Dominic Saxon 13th. The last 2 cars that are still running are Michael Francesconi. He's actually dropped down. He got a decent start, and he's fallen back since then. He's back down in 14th, but still going. And of course, the next target to be lapped by Morgan Moran. So as just a quick note, obviously Jeffrey Marquez is still going in 15th. So still 15 cars going of the 24 that started this race, and that was some 30 odd laps ago, which was quite a long time ago. But nonetheless, 26-second gap then between Moran and Keithley. Now that Keithley has now just pitted. So of course I'm expecting Moran to pit, I'd say, on this lap, maybe the next. Because it's now, I think he's possibly trying to do a 4-stop, I think.
Absolutely. So I think Moran nonetheless has got this strategy nailed. He really has had a sort of perfect race, and it's been such a long time since we've seen Moran in the lead for this long. Before we've seen him, battling with Friedman. Unfortunately in Hungary, of course, that victory got revoked. But I think it's going to be such a warm feeling around the Ghost Speed team. This will be their first official victory in a long time, and for Moran as well, to personally, knowing he's been at the front of the field for 2 races will give him such a big confidence boost right now.
It will. It'll definitely be redemption for what happened in Hungary. It will be actually a win that will actually count. I can't see him done anything wrong. He hasn't put a wheel wrong at all during this race. He's pretty much led from start to finish, not counting when that's where he hasn't led you to the pit stop. But no, actually, in fact, he has. He had such a big gap coming in and out of the pits. He's not lost the lead once, which is pretty impressive. So this looks like it's going to be a 100% clear-cut lights to flag victory for Moran. But as we said, anything can happen, and nothing's ever certain. So Moran will definitely try and soldier on and hold on to this lead. I'm pretty sure, as we said, if he doesn't get this time round, he will do next time round. So keep your eyes peeled and see what happens. The round approaches the final corner. Does he go wide? He does go a bit wide, but not wide enough to go in the pit. So I think doing next time round, we'll see him dart in for stop number 3, I think.
Absolutely. So race drawing on then. We're over halfway now then, so less than 20 laps to go. I'm sure these will feel like very long 20 laps for the Frenchman out front. But the field again sort of trickles into their respective positions. You've seen a very varied top 10 compared to qualifying still. I mean, this has really opened up, as we said before, this midfield championship. Just take a, GT Omega, 2 cars inside the top 10. NetRex, you know, two cars were in the top 10, so Varga down the 12th at the moment. ATR having one of their cars in the top 10 as well. Matt Court with up there as well. Silverline, Blair Disley in P8 at the moment. It's a very, very wide midfield championship, so I'd say from around 3rd and 4th place downwards in terms of the team standings. This is going to get very, very close towards the end of the season if, you know, the current pace stays as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some very talented drivers out in the midfield. Not to speak, of course, as you said, the likes of in there, like De Witt's in there, the two NetRex drivers are bold in Vargu. But I think really they've been two of the sensations of the season, both of them, because they've put some fantastic performances in. Haven't always been the most consistent, but on their day when they've managed to get themselves a good car under them and a decent enough qualifying effort, they've definitely managed to be able to race in the top 10 and race with the teams around them. So they've definitely had a very positive beginning in FSR. Also the drivers, of course, Jeffrey Wright, as we've mentioned, Burlak, Paris has done very well, John Eric Saxon again doing a very good job, of course Lapshin, as we said, of course, as quickly ran to the pits and ran in for his 3rd stop as we predicted, and of course I'm pretty sure he's got a 27-second gap, he should come out easily ahead of anyone else. But yeah, it's a lot of talented drivers, of course. I think with the World Trophy and the World Series, there's always going to be an influx and a constant flow of talented drivers coming through. So it wouldn't be surprised me if we do get some more driver swaps by the end of the season. But obviously for positive reasons, not to see just to bring in the new talent and just to give them a go at the Wheel of the World Championship car.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the gap has been reduced from Moran Zakiti then to 15 seconds. Still, that's again on what it was before they both entered the pit stop. So tell you what though, as we said before, Moran has just had, you know, the dream start to a race. He can keep that going through the second half. He's looking extremely good for a victory, but back through the field, Jakob Meekin in P5 trying to chase down Yannick Lapchin in P4. I think Lapchin still yet to stop. There's Razatali just in front in P3 again. Tali has had a very good race. GT Omega are back to, you know, their old sort of pace at the moment. That's great to see. Of course, I think they've got a very talented lineup at the moment. They've got the experience of the Estonian Rasmus Tali, and then the upcoming young man of Jeffrey Ritveld, who's really stepped up to the pressure this season. Currently just outside P11. Now watch this, okay? Parisis and Ritveld started together at the back of the field. They're now together in 10th and 11th. So it's obvious those two have pace, and we'll see where they can finish at the end of the race. But right now, they're just over, well, half a second separating. It seemed before the winners. I'm not sure what the gap will be at the end of the lap. You can see Parisis just in front of Ritveld yet, so there will be around a second, I think. So, but nonetheless, it's a very nice thing to see that those two have come through the field together and just outside the points positions. But if they do battle, I think Ritveld's going to leave nothing on the track because they'll be giving it everything. But this will be over the final points paying position.
Yeah, Ritveld was 8th, just got ahead and made a pit stop, his 3rd stop of the day, so he's actually come back out 11th behind Parisis. Gap, I think, as far as I can see on my screen, is about 1.7 seconds. So, but Riveld's got some work to do in this still. I don't think Parisis has pitted yet, but the other cars around him, see what's happening with them. Lapshin's in for 4th place. Meekin carries on, so Lapshin makes his 3rd stop and relinquishes 4th back to Meekin, and Baldi will take 5th. De Witt takes 6th as well, so Blair Disley is also carrying on as well. So Lapshin's going to exit about 7th or 8th, maybe even 9th depending, as Burlak cuts across the pit entrance to make another stop of his. And Parisis, is he going to stop as well? Answer to that is yes, he does. So the second Ghost Speed car makes his way into the pits. And looking at Rietveld's pace, that will put him back up to 9th because he'll pass both Parisis and Burlak in the pit lane. In fact, yes, he does. So Rieveld back into the top 10. And Burlak exits out, and he's still in the top 10. So good stuff from him, from those two. As we said, starting right at the back of the field. Varga! Steady on. Varga trying to steady it up the inside from an impossible distance back. And Varga almost taking out Burlak. Steady on. That was pretty close, but Burlak lives to see another today. As Varga kept his front wing as well, but now that's put him under immense pressure from John Eric Saxon down towards what is, I believe, turn 6 or turn 7. But Varga very ambitious there and almost taking out one of Twister Racing's finest up-and-coming drivers.
Well, if that wasn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. I think that was more of a wake-up call than a couple of Red Bulls could ever be. Because if you're not paying full attention, then I think that may have definitely heightened his senses a bit. Out of this because John Eric Saxon now crawling over the back of that NetRex car. That fast speed, desperate for some points as well after a strong qualifying. Start of the race didn't go to plan for Saxon, but desperate to make up for that one now as he tries to crawl over the back of Varga and look for any sort of opportunity on the Netrex driver. But right now there's nothing being given. Varga doing a very good job at holding his line despite recovering from what was a very ambitious attempt there. He was a little bit deep down after locking the brake, and Saxon still trying to just hold on to him. Saxon's not known for diving unnecessarily. You wouldn't see him just dive through if there wasn't, you know, the right ace for it. Especially around Valencia, you need to be 100% committed to the move, or you're going to end up in the car. Worse tyre wall as he almost pushes him round the final corner. A little bit of oversteer, of course. You are in the air, which will make you lose grip, and I think because of that you will lose a bit of time as we go into the opening corners. But Saxon looking particularly feisty right now.
Absolutely. Looking back to the field, see if there's any more close battles going on. A very close battle. It's actually when we mentioned the Varga and Saxon. Looking back to see if there's any other close ones. Lapshin is only about 1.4 seconds ahead of Jarkko Mikkonen in 7th place perspective. So Mikkonen's obviously made another stop. And he's actually come up behind Lapshin again, so that's not really worked out for him. Another close battle appears to be, again, look at Varga and Saxon, of course. And just ahead, in fact, only just ahead is Peter Berlak, of course, in 10th place, who almost got caught up with Varga in that incident. Gap at the front is now 14.4 seconds between the leader Moran and 2nd place Jack Keithley. So at the moment, it's looking ever good for Moran up front. Tarley's still holding station in 3rd. Valdi still has 4th ahead of Patrick DeVitt in 5th. Disney 6th, and the rest top 10, of course, is Lapshin, Mikkonen, Rietveld, Berlak, and also then Varga and Saxon. Top 10, 11, and 12. So after all the carnage of the first third of the race, if you like, things have now started just to settle down. We're coming up to the end of the second third of the race, coming up to 2/3 distance. I think now just some drivers thinking about just trying to get the car home. I think that Patrick DeVitt just made another pit stop. Yes, he has. He's exiting out back now in 8th place. So Lapshin and Mikkonen have gone through into 6th and 7th respectively. So it's all changed. Lots of drivers with different strategies, all trying different strategies. It seems to be some are working, some aren't. So it's just a bit of expectation mid-race, it seems.
Absolutely, this track is very strategy driven, as Saxon almost looked up the inside there. I thought better of that one. But this track really is driven by strategy. You need a good pit strategy to try and, you know, get the leapfrogs on your opponents, because it's so hard to pass there. You've really got to use your imagination, and if overtaking isn't your strongest point, you rely on overtaking during the pit stop window. So perhaps you would see drivers who are trying to make normally 2 or 3 stops go for an extra one, purely to just try and get a little bit lighter fuel load or newer tyres. But we'll have to see, because right now Varga still doing a good job at defending against John-Eric Saxon. This is the closest battle on track over at P11, so we'll see if Saxon can get that move done. Right now that Netrex, it's got to be said though, is looking pretty good. But fast speed, desperate to try and score some points today, and Saxon would be the man to do so. And I think there'll be a more deserving man as well. I think Saxon, you know, deserves some points eventually.
He does. It's been very impressive, as we said in qualifying. He's been very impressive this season. That's some really decent results. You think he scored 1 or 2 podiums even in this season. And he's definitely looking very ready to try and snatch a level off Peter Varga. He's been bothering him for the past few laps. I think eventually that will pay off. Great exit out of the hairpin. He's glued to the rear wing of that Netrex car through this sequence of corners now. It's a little bit wide onto the curbing, but not too wide so he doesn't really incur a penalty or gain any advantage because of it. But Saxon then is on the charge, and Varga sweeps in a little bit wider, but Saxon's got the better run, I think. Big twitch from Varga. That's now put Saxon right into the back of him again. But still, Saxon, for some reason, it isn't close enough. It seems to be Varga just putting that Netrex car in all the right places at all the right times to hold on to that 11th place. But I think really, with the raciness and the rate that Saxon's going, it's going to be a case of when rather than if he gets past. I think it's going to be when. It's going to be rather soon. Big twitch though out of the exit of what was turn 5. So Saxon, you can see, he's absolutely pushing, lighting up the rear tyres wherever possible. And I think he's going to have to be careful as Varga locks up the inside tyre towards turn 7, or turn 8, sorry. And now through the complex onto the back section. So again, both a bit of wheel spin, but they're battling hard. So these two, if it doesn't get resolved soon, they're going to be battling pretty much all the way to the end of the race, it looks like.
Indeed they will. Saxon still, as you said before, he's not going to go for an unnecessary opportunity, and that's why this battle I think is going to last so long, because Varga's doing a good job of holding the lines. He's not yielding to the pressure being applied by the faster than speed driver. And because of that, Saxon he just can't find a way through. May have to think outside the box now. Follow him for maybe 5 laps or so, see what sort of defensive lines he takes, and see if there's a couple of corners where he does go deep like there, and that's again, it gave Saxon a little bit of an opening there. So he's just got to watch for that, take it all in the mental driver's notepad. Perhaps try and use a couple of textbook manoeuvres on him towards the end of the lap as he goes now. He's got the slipstream. I don't think he'll get the move into the final corner though, but I'll definitely be... Oh, he does! And Varga goes wide. They both dive into the pits. This is going to be crucial. Saxon got in first. Varga just... I think he's going to be a bit upset with that when he lost the position. Just came in a bit too hot before going into the pit lane. Saxon said thank you. Varga gets away first. Will he come out in front? That's going to be very close as they come out of the pit lane. I can't predict this one. Saxon just gets it still. So Varga unfortunately lost that position because of just a scruffy entrance to the pit lane. And that's exactly what we were talking about pit stops and how vital they can be.
That was very cheeky indeed. That was very key. Just snuck it up the inside and just made the mistake, capitalised on Varga's mistake, and just got in front of him before they hit their pit lane speed limiters. And that was a rather crafty but clever move. And that's now got Saxon. Gave Saxon all the opportunity he had. It looks like Varga's not finished. Both on fresh tyres now, equally fresh tyres. We want that back, and look at how Varga's got a fantastic run almost onto the back section here towards what's going to be turns 11 and 12 or so. And Varga's now got a really good toe down towards the complex, and he gets back. He's right under the rear wing, sweeps to the outside, and has a look if he can go deep around the outside, and almost makes it stick. Has he made it stick? He got the inside line. Yes, he has. Great stuff. So that 11th place, 12th place was short-lived accident. He lost it straight away. So that he's down in the same place. He's going to try and do it all over again. So Saxon is going to have to hope for another mistake from the Hungarian in front of him in order to try and make the move stick once more. And again, he's really pressuring him again through. He might get even caught up in the dirty air in the slipstream to the fast corners, and that's just going to hurt Saxon. It's going to give Varga an advantage to pull away as he's right on the back of him once more, down towards the last couple of corners. And Saxon's going to try and move down the inside of the last corner.
Tries to
go deep and tries to do a switchback. Almost. And Varga got another really risky move. A risky run off the final corner. But Saxon got a much better one. And now he's got the run through turn 1 towards turn 2. Varga goes defensive. Saxon goes straight around the outside. He tries to make it stick. He's got the inside for turn 3. Stick. One pass. And that's exactly what Varga did to Saxon about what? It must have been half a lap ago. So excellent stuff, and it's revenge for Saxon, so he's got the place back again from Varga. Second time he's passed him. And Varga then, I think they're going to be battling to the end of the race, as we said. That was very close though. Varga almost outbraked himself and lost his front wing.
Indeed he did, and that's the second time that's almost happened then for the Networks driver. Well, I think this battle could be far from over. These two seem very evenly matched at the moment, swapping places very quickly in numerous times over the past couple of laps. Now Varga's turn on the assault then goes to the inside of Saxon. Thinks better of it because I thought, don't want any blood between those two. Considering that, they've been clean this far. I think Saxon will have a few harsh words to say if a silly incident which could have been prevented did occur during the race. But we'll see what happens because currently P12 and 13 will be promoted back to 11th when the rest of the field pits in. The gap, I think Keith would have pitted again because the gap between Moran and Keithley, 28 seconds.
Yeah, I think he has. So now that means we'll be expecting Moran in the next couple of laps, and as we have done for the past couple of times, and he's now just lapped Michael Francesconi, and that's Francesconi back in P14. So only 2 cars have been lapped so far. Of course, that's due to the high attrition rate. We've had started with 24 cars. We've had 50. We've still got 15 left, so 9 have retired. So all due to pretty much DNS, probably due to the nature of the street circuit of the nature of this street circuit with the close confines of the wall. As Moran headed towards the final corner, is just going to be pitching it in. No, he carries on. So I'm predicting either we're going to be next lap or a push, maybe the lap after that. But nonetheless, he's still going. Now, Tarley, the gap between him and Keithley in second is now 1.8 seconds. So I think he's dropped back a couple of tenths, but they seem to be just keeping the gap very static between each other. So really, Tyler's not making too many inroads, but at the same time, he's not letting Keithley get away too far. So just keep him in striking distance, just in case anything happens, because also then we'll be able to pounce and grab second place. He's got a podium, which the GT Omega team will be very pleased about, and they'll be very happy to have a car on the rostrum, but I'm sure they'd love a second place more than a third, but I think they'd still be satisfied with it. But Tali will probably being told to push and push hard. Gap's now back up to it looks like it's now, I think it's 3.1 seconds now, so really he's lost quite a bit of time. So it looks like Keithley is getting the hammer down and trying to extend the gap now. He wants to secure that second place and also trying to stake his claim for regular World Championship drive, because of course he's running away with the championship at the moment, it seems, in World Series, and this will be a fantastic weekend to cap it off of racing for him, standing in for Bono Huis. I'm pretty sure that by the time Bono comes back, we may even see be teamed up. Who knows? We'll see what this the aftermath of this race brings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you what, it really has been, though, a big, you know, kind of winds of change blowing sort of race. Has really opened up the championship, not just in the midfield, but in terms of Morgan Morand as well. He got second place last time out due to the 5-second penalty at Hungary, which still, you know, being highly debated among many people. But to come back from that and take a victory here in a prime opportunity really will give him a boost, as we've said. You know, he's still got quite a way to go, but nonetheless, without Huis there, that's a 25-point game, which has rendered one of his earlier victories kind of as if it didn't happen now.
Interesting bet when you need to keep an eye on for the 4th place. They've been kind of closing up on each other lap after lap, and we've got Yannick Lapshin's held station in 4th, Jarko Meeken in 5th, and Gergo Baldi 6th. Now remember, of course, Lapshin and Meeken are on different strategies, but it's also interesting the fact that Baldi's now being closed on by Patrick de Witt. So this could become a 4-car train pretty soon. The gap between from 4th to 7th is actually, looks like it's 3.6 seconds between the three. So they're very close together, these 4, and they're pretty much can all be in shot all at once through the complex as Lapshin holds on. Meeken just holding. It seems to be fairly equal gaps to each other, about a second per car. So we're definitely keeping in close proximity. And I think obviously this is an ongoing battle between Lapshin and Meeken, and I think if Meeken needs to step it up a little bit more in order to give it a really good chance. And actually, just thinking about it, Meeken's had a really good race this afternoon. He's the previous times we've seen Meeken, he's not really, again, no offence to him, he's not really shown the same kind of pace, the same kind of raw speed that obviously we've seen Bono Huis show. Of course, his teammate, but I think Meeken stepped up here this afternoon in Valencia. He's in 5th place, doing very well. He obviously. I think they've still got to stop and make their last stop, as I think, let's see if Morgan Moran's made a pit stop yet. No, he's carried on, so he hasn't really made another pit stop yet, and Keith hasn't even just come to the final few corners towards the end of lap 43. So at the moment, yeah, Meeken's been very impressive recently. He's definitely upped his game, and he's up there in the top 5, which is a pretty decent result, and I think position, even with Huis missing, in terms of constructor teams championship, 2nd and 5th, can't be too happy, can't be too displeased with that. They'll be very happy. That's going to be a solid points haul for them to take away and to take into the next round, which of course is only a week away, and that'll be at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps. So be sure to tune in with that one. We'll give you some more information on that one near the end of the broadcast.
Absolutely. I think this has proved a lot of people wrong as well. You know, over the past couple of seasons, you know, a lot of people have said their position are more of a one-man band. You know, it's just Bono Huis, and Meeken he's been there occasionally, but he hasn't really been there in terms of supporting. And this race has proved a lot of people wrong. Meeken, as you said, in the top 5, Keithley in 2nd. Precision can still perform extremely well without their main man.
What's interesting, of course, that they even have one car in the World Trophy. It is actually the team owner, which is Johannes Kunkel. And obviously, so they've got a car obviously representing, as do a lot of teams, obviously here with the FSR. But the fact that essentially that it's quite interesting that the team boss essentially he's got drivers that can look after the World Championship and the World Series, but still himself can find some time to have a bit of fun and get behind the wheel and support his team to look after the World Trophy. So that's not too bad. So he's definitely showing that Precision, as I said, they seem to have technically got all the bases covered really in terms of drivers, and definitely showing, as you said, that no matter what situation, even with or without Bono Huis, they still can perform at the top, and this one's still one of the teams overall anyway in FSR. Quick note, I think Ryan hasn't stopped yet, but I'm pretty sure it's that 45.57. I'm pretty sure he will make his final stop, I would think, I'm guessing this time around or next time around, because of course that'll only be another 12 or 13 laps he's got to do before the end of the race. I think that last set of tyres, last fuel load will be enough for him to hold on to that advantage, I think. So definitely on his way then around with about 12 or 13 laps to go then. I think his second win of the season, and this win of course will stand, so fingers crossed he can get across the line and grab himself a victory here on the streets of Valencia.
Absolutely, another battle just forming as well, the battle for P9 between Peter Burlack and Jeffrey Ritveld, two of the next generation, if you will, of Formula Sim racing drivers. Just behind them, Jim Parisis sits in 11th. Now, I'll tell you what, if Parisis could score a point as well, another double top 10 for Ghost Speed, they've really, you know, kind of come alive again. It's not just Morgan Moran. Parisis really has driven some good results this season. If he could keep going and get another point result here, Ghost Speed could be a very, very, you know, not to be undermined contender for the Constructors' Championship. I think they're currently within touching distance of the likes of ATR and Precision at the top of the tables. But if Parisis can just get a couple points, you know, today, as opposed to starting from the backfield, I don't think anything was expected of him. He started way down in, you know, next to last position. Because to come through and get 11th is just fantastic in itself. But to get points will be even more incredible.
Just been handed some rather interesting information that apparently Jeffrey Ritveld is suffering some damage from contact that was made between him and Jim Parisis. So this is quite interesting. Not sure if we spotted it at all. Maybe it was just in the opening stint or when they were battling. But I think possibly it could have been even the damage that they suffered when they made contact up at the last corner when they were battling. So that's what seems to be it. So I think possibly that Ritveld, it's not just his tyres going. He may be suffering with some. He's in the pits now. So, but Ritveld then, it's not actually all plain sailing for him. Obviously, the battle with Reeses has left some wounds on his GT Omega car. In fact, Peter Burlack has now taken light as a result of the pit stop that Ritveld has now made. And Reeses just carries on. So I think he's just going to beat Ritveld out of the pits. I think that he does. So as you said, Reeses has put the second Ghost Speed car into the top 10, and another double points finish will definitely strengthen Ghost Speed's position in the team's championship. So it's not, but obviously position will go away with the stronger points haul with second and fifth in regards to first and 10th, which is still good. But overall, as a kind of overall team performance, despite the win, Precision have done slightly better because they've got both their cars on the top 5. So we've come up to roughly about, say, 10 or 11 laps to go. I think Moran has also just made his pit stop now. That was a lap ago, I think, because he's now the gap back down to 13 seconds, which unfortunately we missed. Hopefully the broadcast spotted it, but nonetheless, Moran now just has to bring it home and maintain for 13 seconds, and he will have win number 2 of the season and win number 3 of his FSR career.
Absolutely. Now let's just take a look quickly then at Jojo Aldi, currently P6, looking for that all-important top 5. And you can see now, there's a big slide there by Jaakko Mikkonen. Danik Lapshin pits in, so he now will provisionally move up to 5th. He chases down Mikkonen in the position then for P4. But I'll tell you what, I think Baldy, again, we keep praising him, but he literally keeps living up to it. It's not like it's for no reason. He deserves to be in that top 5, and I'll tell you, give him 2 or 3 years. If he has contracted to, you know, a very big team, I think he can definitely be a title contender.
Lapshin has just exited pits in 8th place, and Burlack is in the pits as well, as is Jim Parisis. So, this will then, I think, will allow Ritveld, who's just coming in. No, Ritveld's back in. Now, what's going on there? Because Ritveld's back in, he stopped a lap ago. Now, what's happened here? Because is that more damage that Ritveld has suffered? Well, Ritveld's back in the pit lane, and did they forget to put fuel in, or was it another change of tyres? I really don't know what's going on with Ritveld, but that is not good for his chances of getting any points today. Because Burlack and Parisis have already left the pit lane, and there goes Ritveld, so that's rather confusing. But there he goes. But that was it to fix some more damage try and fix the damage that he sustained from the contact with Parisis, because if it's suspension damage, it's extremely hard, if not impossible, to get fixed in the pits. So I think Rietvald's had some kind of problem there, or they haven't fueled the car properly.
Yeah, I'll try and shed some light for you as we get more information, but I think going from slightly bad to worse now for Jeffrey Ritveld. Jim Parisis moves up through the field. If that was contact, I'm sure maybe a little bit of karma perhaps there for Parisis as the Greek up to P12, Peter Varga 11th, 9th Burlack at the moment. Now let's just take a look back to Baldy as he tries to catch Yakimikin and both of them in the pits then. Let's watch this because, I think Boldy may get a bit of a penalty there.
And a bit.
He came in very deep into the pit lane and he had to very quickly lock his brakes. Now whether that will inquire a stop and go is yet to see, because I think he came in very, very hot indeed. He comes in front of the bit, but look at Meekin right by his side. Boldy just about gets, you can see there's Lapchin. So Lapchin's jumped and still keeps his P5. And now making it almost up the inside. But will there be a drive-through or no for the NetRex driver of Jojo Boldy, because he came into that pit lane extremely fast.
And through all of this, look who it's benefiting. Disney, he's up to 4th place, and he's got a substantial gap then of about 4 seconds or so. So that's the battling kind of trio of cars behind him. So what a stint that Disney's put in. But he's done that pretty quietly actually. We didn't even notice him for a while. He's actually stormed up, and look at that. He's on the edge of the podium. He's only 12 seconds off Rasmus Tarley. I don't think he'll catch him, but Disney's with a fantastic run so far. The Australian for Silverline. He's in the 4th place here. Let's just say to stop again. I'm not sure if he has to. If he has, of course, then it'll be disappointing. But if he hasn't, then Disley with a fantastic chance to give himself a really decent haul of points. Speaking of Silverline, it's not gone really well for Francesco, and he's out of the race, unfortunately, with looks like suspension trouble. So that's rather unfortunate. But I think hopefully Silverline will look to rescue something via Disley's fantastic drive, as he currently sits 4th, which is a fantastic effort.
Absolutely, so we'll see if he can try and keep that at the moment. But Brad Disley, I think again, Silverline, with a result like that, will be so happy with that, because they've worked so hard for this. And in a sort of mid-season turnaround, around this time last year, of course, where they had around the same thing as well. If you remember, this was around, well, just the race before where Morgan Moran took the fight to Bono Quiz. So Silverline seems to be doing that kind of the mid-season jump, and they get a lot of progress made over that summer break.
So it's the last 10 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix, the Thrustmaster SimRacing World Championship on the streets of Valencia, and Morgan Moran. But I think that's interesting. I think he has made another pit stop. I think because Moran now has a 28-second lead. So it looks like Moran has gone 1 stop less than Keighley, which is interesting, and he's still ahead of Harley. So those two must have made a pit stop whilst we were looking at the battles that were going on. And Ben Disley also has pitted as well. He's back down in 8th now, still get some points. But that now catapults Jack Lapsha back up to 4th place. So what a fantastic effort he put in. So that's worked more for Lapsha than it has for Mika, because Gergo Baldi's managed to split the pair of them. But now Baldi's going to have to watch behind, because coming under pressure from Mika. And also Patrick de Vic back in 7th place, who's just still there or thereabouts, and hanging in there in the top 10. And Jim Paris actually has now got into the top 10. So that's pretty interesting. So now, and also that's obviously as a result, I think, of which the reason of that is still unclear. But that's not too bad. As you said, Ghost Speed now will have both cars in the points, depending on if Priest can keep it in 10th and keep it on the road, which fingers crossed he can do.
Absolutely. I mean, to come from the rear end of the field, is no easy task, and especially around a circuit with a nature like this. So it's been a heroic drive by the Greek man Jim Paris. John-Eric Saxon in P11. I'm sure he would love to get a point or two if something happens towards the end of the race. Of course, we are in to the final 10 laps now. We've got around 7 laps remaining. So far, so good. I mean, it hasn't been the most interesting race of all time, but it's definitely seen quite a few changes which could be significant to the championship.
It definitely could. A replay like this actually just on the back of it looks like... Oh no! Hold on a minute. He was behind Varg. I think Varg got straight on at the hairpin, I think. Look at the other replay, because Varg was ahead of him 1 minute. Let's have a look. Now, if I just go back, right, he did. Varg just completely outbraked into the hairpin into the second sector, and that was an easy 12th place for Jeffrey Wrightbelt, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, but maybe if it's brake fading. Remember, of course, there's a circuit, we had this in the World Trophy in the World Series. Cars with their brakes fading into the race, so maybe Vargas might be starting to go a bit now. But I think possibly I think he's stopping a bit earlier than usual. I think Vargas' brakes are starting to go. I think he's slowing a lot earlier. But he's crawling around the corner. I think he's got brake problems. Vargas, he's in trouble.
Could well be in look how much of a gap Ritveld's got. You're absolutely right. Moran now comes around to lap him. I think this has been key. We said brakes are a big factor. We haven't seen much evidence of this, but he's locking the brakes in every corner. And as you said, just crawling around this circuit, and it's a long old lap as well to get round. Moran will see the smoke. He's got to be careful. Moran has to try and navigate his way past Peter Varga. There you see the ghost speed of your race leader. And Varga's going to go a lap down, but the question is, will he move out the way? Should do. He'll get blue flagged, so it's not like you don't have a warning. So this will be a good place to do it. Varga moves to the inside, surely goes for the runoff area. Yes, he does.
Sorry to interrupt, we've lost Jarkko Mikkonen. Mikkonen is out of the race. The reason why, I'm not quite sure. Either he's had an engine problem or something. It just says DNS. Either he's had a coming together with someone. But so that's rather on for that is Jarkko Mikkonen out of the race, which is they're decent run for points. It's kind of taken a dent because there's only one car scoring points, second nonetheless. But that has now definitely helped Ghost Speed, as that's Jim Priest up to 9th now. So that's helped their point situation no end for Ghost Speed. But Precision have taken a knock, so Mikkonen out of the race.
And very unfortunate. Jarkko, we said, was back to his very best, and it just unfortunately wasn't to be his day. However, Jojo Boldi and Yannick Lapchin still joining away the 4th. This one, I think, could go right down to the wire. But I think it's going to be very interesting to watch as well. I mean, a 4th place now for either one of these drivers will be such a big confidence boost. You know, ATR had a very troubled couple of months here now after all the Morgan Moran controversies and driver swaps, personnel changes. But now to finally get their team back on the roll and get them, you know, a top 5 will be utterly incredible. A 4th place is just astounding for Yannick Lapchin, providing he can keep it there. Boldy would want one. I think that would be a very good result for him. Of course, one stop away from the podium, but the man currently 3rd place on the podium, I think deserves even more praise, Rasmus Tarley.
Absolutely, obviously GT Mega Boss Damian Dainhumain will be very happy with the effort these teams put in. Jeff Reitfeld is also just into the top 10 now. He's just trying to close on Jan-Erik Saxon, and the gap between Saxon's, he's actually 7 seconds up the road, so either Saxon's going to have to run into some problems, or Reitfeld's going to have to go like the absolute claps and the tag off the rear end of the faster than speed car. Quick shout out, we have to give Peter Burlak, 8th place, started around the same level as areas where Paris and Reitfeld started, so he's actually top of that trio of drivers that started near the back. So, and he's showing this ability to just wherever he starts, just charge through the field and get himself a result. Remember that World Trophy yesterday, unfortunately didn't see it due to some technical problems, but to World Trophy yesterday, starting practically at the back of the field with about 2 or 3 laps to go, ended up taking the lead from Tommy Nilsson after his brake completely decided to expire at the final corner, and that ended his race heartbreakingly close to a debut victory. But nonetheless, Moran now has a 29.5 second lead on lap. Is he now on lap 53 of 57 here at Valencia? And he's almost home. He's got a few more laps and then he'll get himself race win number 2. And I'm pretty sure the French Grizzly is going to be extremely pleased with that one.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a good way to come back from, you know, something like that. I mean, it's so hard to have that sort of thing happen to you. You know, at points, you know, you would be considering perhaps quitting the league or anything like that, but Moran has kept his head down, not let it get to him, and, you know, just come back even stronger to take a victory. As I said before, you know, normally a victory would mean, you know, Chris going perhaps 2nd or 3rd. This hasn't happened. Of course, with Bono on holiday, Moran has got an opportunity to gain 25 points on him, which would perhaps render a victory of Bono Chris absolutely useless now, because as opposed to losing 3 or 4 points, 25 is such a big jump in the championship.
Also, it was interesting to think about is what if there had been no penalty supply? What if Moran's win had stood? Of course, Moran would have taken even more chunks out of, even larger sizable chunk out of Puis's championship lead. But of course, with the situation that happened back in Hungary, of course it has happened, and of course this is essentially as you said, this is retribution for Moran. This is him getting the victory which he feels he should have deserved and should have back in Hungary. So I'm pretty sure he'll be absolutely nothing but overjoyed at this triumph if he can just bring it home in the last few laps.
Absolutely, not long to go. They're on lap 54 out of 57. So I think these will feel like the longest laps of a life for Morgan Moran right now. But I'm sure it will all be worth it in the end. I'm currently in P1.
I think possibly, Patrick's a bit struggling with brakes as well, because he's dropped right off the back of Gergo Baldi. and he's fallen right into the clutches of Blair Disney. I think David's struggling with brakes as well, because he seems to be not too bad through this fast section of the last couple of corners. Let's watch him down towards the final corner. Now, how often he has got brake problems. He's backed right off into the final corner, and Disney, whoa, that was close. Almost tripped over it because Disney tried to switch back, went too deep, and David took it back. But I think he'll definitely lose it again to turns 2 and 3 under braking, because he has to right off to keep his brakes in good check. Disney back up the inside, and again David closes the door. I think really the sensible thing to do is you can defend, but the sensible thing is if your brakes are going, just let him go, because it's basically he's fighting a losing battle. Because if he carries on trying to defend, he'll use his brakes. He'll have to use his brakes harder and to try and defend and use them even more, and that will eventually see them expire. So the smart thing to do is just let Disney go. Otherwise, he won't be finishing at all. And Disney's getting so frustrated behind Patrick De Witt now. He really wants to just get it on with and just pass him. And it's the chance he's got now. He'll be in the stream, and of course now he'll be able just to nail him up the inside when De Witt uses his brakes that little bit early. But he has to be really careful, and De Witt is really back. Yes, in fact, he backs off massively before the corner, and that's easy 6th place for Blair Disney. Then it's a fantastic run for the Silver Line driver. He's up another place, and let's see just how much of the gap he can actually close in. Just in the background, De Witt is actually he's going to come under attack now from Peter Burlock. I think even possibly Jim Parisis. This will help go speed even more, because he'll go possibly in 8th place then. If Burlock moves up to 7th, and De Witt's brake problems persist, which it looks like they actually are. So it's all going on then, and if it can happen to De Witt, it can happen to Peter Varga, it can happen to anyone.
Absolutely, it's exactly what we saw in Montreal, of course, with Morgan Moran. Hopefully history does not repeat itself, because he's worked very hard for this victory. Back slightly further forward though, Lapchin and Baldy still dueling away. I think both of them trying to drive conservatively. It's not like it's a P13 or 14 where you can, afford to have a risky manoeuvre. This is for some of the highest point positions, the P4 and P5, so you need to try and get that move right, otherwise it's just not a risk worth taking this late in the race.
Quickly showing a look at Morgan Moran, looks like I don't want to put a contest curse, but his brakes are working perfectly fine. Let's fingers crossed that I'm just cursed him with any brake troubles, but he heads into the final corner to start lap number 56. Yes, it will be. That's a penultimate lap. And then 2 more circuits to go then, and Morgan Moran will have that victory. Just needs to keep it calm and steady. And still this battle for 4th race is on between Lapchan and Baldy. Now Baldy's really hasn't. He doesn't have the ultimate pace to close in and make an attack. He seems to be that Lapchan, as we see quite often, just seems to have this slight edge. He just seems to be able to just hold on to that gap that he has at the moment. So Lapchan then holding on to 4th, but the question is if Baldy's lapping quicker, for how much longer will he hold on to it? And Burlock has now got past Patrick De Witt. Next target I think will be Jim Parisis, because Parisis, how quickly can he close in 2 laps? We'll have to find out, but nevertheless, Miranda's pushing on. And he's actually come up to lap Reetbelt in 11th place now, so he's actually coming up to lap what's left of the cars outside of the top 10. He's already lapped Marconi and Varga. Of course, with his persistent problems, still a 12th place, but still, Varga then do what he can, and its brakes are just starting to ever so slowly, continually fade and go away from him. Moran is continuing to last lap in a second, and so Moran is almost home. 1 more lap when he finishes this one, and he'll be home and drive for victory.
He does think we might as well take the final lap on board just to appreciate what he's done. He got the pole position after coming back from, a weekend in Hungary. Like you said, it's so hard to do, but he come back fighting strong to get pole position. He led the field away, and he's established a 29-second gap over Jack Keithley in second. He comes up to Ritvold, you can see there. But this is the final time Morgan Moran will turn this course for the 2011 season, 2012 season, I beg your pardon. And it'll be possibly the winds of change now, because Bono Priest will be well aware, I'm sure, of what's going on, and will be aware of what's been lost as well. Effectively, all the hard work for one weekend of victory has just been taken from him. He may as well have entered his race and retired, because Morgan Moran now is definitely closing in on him. This is going to give him such more momentum going into Spa. Of course, Spa, the last time these two were at Spa, It has probably one of the most greatest battles in Formula Sim racing history. And I'm sure if history is going to repeat itself, and this time with Moran being this far up in the championship, it's going to be probably one of the battles of the giants.
So on to the final sector, then here he comes. Let's take you then. He's got Jeffy Rietfeld in front of him, but they won't matter. You're not going to be there in close enough to the final sector. And just think, 2 weeks ago, Moran was denied a victory. The incident that happened between him and Woodwiss put him back second place, and he was absolutely overwhelmed with rage about it. But this has all come good. No Bono challenge. As a result, Moran will round the final corner, and it'll be victory number 2 of the season, and officially his first for go speed. He lights up the rear tyres, weaves in delight, and takes victory here at Valencia. Morgan Moran wins the FSR World Championship Spanish Grand Prix in fantastic circumstances, and promptly sets about a series of donuts to show his absolute overjoyed emotion at that victory, and well deserved. Fantastic stuff. Second place, we missed it. Charlie's right on the back of Keithley to the end of the race. Final
He's
corner,
got the
I think
inside.
He's going to hold on. No, he doesn't. No, Charlie almost down the inside. Not close enough yet. And hold on. No, wait a minute. Hold on.
He's got it.
Charlie's got it. Charlie got
Keithley may have
second.
run out of fuel.
How did he do
Keithley
that?
must have run out of fuel, surely.
Keithley. Oh,
Rasmus
that's heartbreaking.
Tarley in GT Omega has just come second. Keithley must have run out of fuel. He's moving so slowly now. Tarley, out of nowhere, snatches second position. So if a weekend could go better for GT Omega, it just has. Yannick Lapching crosses the line in P4 for ATR, followed by Giorgio Boldi. Both those guys deserve that one. Great effort by both of those guys. What about this man crossing the line now? Blair Disley in silver line. What a great result for him.
Burlak comes home in 7th after a fantastic drive from the back. Patrick De Witt, with what's left of his brakes. Although, let's be careful, because De Witt, look at that, De Witt and Saxon really closing on the final lap. Is he going to be able to hold it off? I'm not quite sure if he will be able to. He just has the advantage there. So De Witt, minus a lot of his brakes, comes across in 8th. Paresis grabs 9th to make it a double points finish for Ghost Speed. And Saxon rounds out the top. Let's start at the back. They have all finished in the top 10. Right, Rietveld with his brake problems, or with his problems that he's had. Promptly wrecks his car across the line, but 11th place for him. And of course, we've already had Marconi and Varga across the line, so that is our race result then. So let's quickly run down the finishing results that we have. There's some more Grand takes the victory then. Fantastically by 31.5 seconds, amazing, but not from Jack Keithley. It's from Rasmus Tarley, who takes him literally on the line, on the pit straight. So it must be that he ran out of fuel. Rasmus Tarley then takes 2nd. 3rd, of course, is Jack Keithley, but still a fantastic result for Keithley to grab a World Championship podium. 4th was Yannick Lapshin, fantastic result for ATR to get themselves back on track. 5th for Gergo Boldi for Netrex, good stuff for them. It was Blair Disley, a fantastic drive for 6th for Silverline. 7th, Peter Burlak, from near the back of the field. 8th was Patrick De Witt, minus almost all of his brakes. 9th, Jim Paresis, and then rounding out the top 10 was John Eric Saxon for Go Speed, and the finishers the rest of the cars that made it to the finish. Only 3 more made it to the finish. And they were in order: Jeffrey Rietveld, who should be gutted with not to get a better result in the top 10, in 11th. Peter Varga, also with brake problems, in 12th. And Jeffrey Marconi, a lap down, but in 13th. The retirements quickly were in order from soonest to earliest, and they were Jarkko Mikkonen, Francesconi, Folosa, Masculi, Hoffman, Canitz, Van der Linden, Chaster-Pantanas, Cook, Malorki, and Asserclint. Whew, I think that's just about done it for the race. I think it was a pretty awesome race overall. Let's just kind of round it up. So, Liam, let's just discuss overall. I think in terms of a race, I'd say one of the better races we've seen in Valencia, both in real sim racing, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it was left out there on the track. I mean, the top 10 were just so close as well. We saw so much drama as well with breaks towards the end. A very, I don't know how late Harley left that move, but I mean, just about anything that could have happened almost happened in that race, from utter start carnage to, you know, mind-blowing stuff at the end. I think Valencia produced a fairly good race there, and it's really opened up this second half of the season.
Just looking at the chat here, Jackie, he hasn't said at all whether or not he ran out of fuel. Maybe if he just got the just couldn't get the traction down or something, or thought he crossed the line, or possibly. I'm not quite sure what the situation as to why that happened. But Keithley, that's a rather Yeah, that's rather strange as what happened, whether he did it run out of fuel or whether he just misjudged the finish line at the end of the race. But still, GT Omega will be absolutely overjoyed with the fact that they got themselves a fantastic second place. I suppose that Precision will be unhappy that they couldn't get a second and only got third, and also the fact that they lost one car at the points in Jarkko Mikanen. So really, without Bono Huis, it hasn't really gone everything to plan. But still, it's a third place, it's a podium, so it's still a decent result. But Ghostby will be overjoyed with the fact that not only will be a victory for Morgans, and of course that his first official one, regarding what happened in Hungary, but of course also it was Jim Paris got himself into the points as well. I think it was a ninth place finish for the Greek driver, so it's a double points finish for Precision, for Ghostby, excuse me, which is actually pretty much a bit more than what Precision managed overall in the race today.
Yeah, I think the end result from position doesn't tell the whole story. Of course, Jarkko Mikanen did deserve a better position, I think, overall. But I think Jim Parisis, John-Eric Saxon, two guys who very much deserve points, of course, starting from the rear end of the field, Saxon side at the front. That, of course, had a bit of an earlier incident. But overall, I think that was a fantastic race. But if you had to pick one driver then, Scott, for driver of the day, who would it be?
Oh, this is interesting. In some cases, I'm tempted to say Jack Keating, also because he stepped in, put it on the front row of the grid, and despite the little mishap at the beginning of the race, he managed to hold second place, and to come in and to pretty much fill Bono Huis's shoes for a race, and to kind of essentially, if you like, be the lead driver essentially, is no easy feat. It's a very difficult task, especially if you've got to follow up the double reigning and current World Championship leader. So I think he's definitely put in a great result. Other notable mentions I can put in, I think definitely Blair Disley for 6th place. Definitely good stuff from him for Silverline. Gerga Baldi as well. 5th place for Netrex to put in a fantastic result. And also Peter Berlak as well, finishing 7th despite starting near the back of the field. So definitely showing his pace to come through the field. And how about you, Lim? Who have you got as your driver or drivers of the day?
Oh, it's going to be close. I'd have to say, I think Blair Disley really did do a fantastic job there for Silverline to get them back up in the top 10, almost like where they belong. It's been such a long absence for them. Moran did a fantastic job as well. I'm probably going to go with Blair Disley, actually. A lot of other drivers, such as, Boldy, Lapchin, could have had it, but I think it's good to see Blair Disley back up in the top 10 for Silverline. So I think that just about rounds out coverage here then from Valencia. Don't forget, you can tune in to Spa next week here live on simrace.tv. I'm sure myself and Scott will be commentating on that one. So until next time, guys, we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast, and we'll see you very, very soon for round 9 of the FSR World Championship in Spa-Francorchamps. Goodbye.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in Spa.